진짜 파이널입니다. 정말 마지막 한 장. SK K냐 나중에 실드냐 결정돼요. 바로 이걸 나진이를 선착게 하면서 롤드컵에 합류합니다.
Makes you wish you were there. Got a hole in my soul going deep. One more moment of this silence, the loneliness is haunting me.
And that's right, definitely one of the biggest rivalries going into spring, I suppose, but I don't wish I was dead, that's for sure. I don't agree with that song at all. I'm very happy to be here. Let's take a look at our teams in this match today. First, we'll be taking a look at Najin, e-mFire. There they are. And like Monty said, a roster that hasn't had a lot of booth experience as a cohesive unit in this form yet. A lot of questions. I think that's the theme for this season, honestly, is questions, you know? Who's going to come up and claim those spots, presumably below these two teams? Are either of these teams going to be sort of supplanted as the top teams in Korea? A lot of mystery going into this season.
Yeah, exactly, and especially, we keep reiterating this, but around this Najin team that really didn't play that much together as a five-man unit, these particular players, Duke, Watch, Goong, OQ, and Kane during the preseason, even though there was strong indications that this is what their starting roster was going to end up being. And it's interesting, too, because this Najin team is a sword-shield hybrid, and now, usually, Najin, we think about them as being a very solo lane-focused team, but now Goong has a very big playmaking AD carry on his side with OQ, and Duke, of course, playing a lot of tanks throughout the preseason, especially those last two Scion picks. And they have a lot of more versatility now than they did before, because Duke can play these carry top laners, but he's also so good on some more of these utility tanks as well. So I feel like by combining the Sword and Shield rosters, they've really opened up a new dimension of strategy that didn't exist for either Sword or Shield previously.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of these combined rosters that we're seeing really have become hybrids of both teams' distinctive styles. Like Shield, very long games, very, defensive sort of team fighting oriented play. Sword, very aggressive, the old do-dive mentality, right? Going all the way back to Mach Noon, heading up that team. And now we have this hybrid, this team that is much more team focused, but yet still has that explosiveness too, I suppose you could say.
That's right. And of course, Goong being a more aggressive mid laner has always had more passive AD carries like Zephyr, whereas Sword was having Prey, they were having OQ, these kind of big-time playmaking ADs. And so we'll have to see how this synergy works, but this is the guy to watch right here. You can see 8.3 KDA so far in the preseason. Very explosive player, especially on these big hyper carries like Tristana.
Yeah, and Kane, a player that he's always been one of my favorite players in Korea. He's always been one of the most cerebral, intelligent supports out there, and he has the ability to make these big plays on champions like Thresh. Wouldn't be surprised to see that banned away from him quite a bit. I mean, this guy he's the brains right now behind Najin. So can they translate that into a win against a team like SKT? It's kind of a big job for him right out of the gate.
Yeah, very, very big job, of course, for Najin to take down SK Telecom, which did seem to be the premier team here in Korea over the course of the preseason.
And now on the other side of the arena is a team that needs almost no introduction at all. SK Telecom T1, an organization that won Season 3 Worlds, and they still do have Bengi and FLICKR. So two of that Worlds team roster is still on this, but we have seen a lot of changes come after that.
And of course, this is talking about the transition and carry potential on Najin. When we look at this SK Telecom roster, we see, of course, FLICKR, of course, being the main carry, but he was very reliant on Piglet as a secondary carry on the team. And now that role is kind of transferred into the top lane on Marin, whereas Bang and Wolf are good, and they're very consistent, but they are rather conservative, especially compared to Piglet's split-pushing Vayne style and his kind of big auto-attack champions. Bang, he's much more comfortable putting down some damage from the periphery and cleaning up fights. He's the janitor right now of SK Telecom. And Marin and FLICKR, they're the ones you're going to see initiating. They're the ones who are going to be very much targeted. They have more aggressive laning phases.
Yeah, I really think this roster is pretty much perfect in terms of how these players are playing. I mean, you've got that bot lane, right, that's so stable, so safe, and then you've got Mar and FLICKR, the big playmakers. Bengi can concentrate on helping them out. It really is kind of a perfect combination of styles for these individual players.
Well, it's really interesting, too, because Najin White Shield was a very solo lane-focused team and has now switched to incorporating a bigger carry in OQ.
Yeah.
And SK Telecom's kind of operating in the reverse. They were mid-AD, and now they're switching more towards mid-top with a more supportive style AD carry. So Bang is a lot more like Zephyr in that way. So we'll have to see, because both of these teams are they've kind of like switched positions in terms of where their strength and their punch is coming from.
It is true, and it's interesting that SK Telecom doesn't seem to have really missed a beat in terms of making this large transition, too. They looked great in the preseason.
Fantastic.
Clearly, easily the best team we saw in the preseason, I would say by far. You know, and a lot of people include Najin up there as a top team, and they certainly are, but I would say there's another decent step between them and SKT. We'll see after the games today, but it's really incredible to see just how good these guys look so fast.
That's right. Of course, Bang hanging up right there with OQ at the top of the KDAs. Impressive player, but it is easier to be an AD carry on a team with FLICKR on it because he absorbs so many cooldowns during team fights, and everybody's so desperate to kill him that it does make your job a little bit easier. And Wolf, of course, pulling out the Blitzcrank. This guy's been great at creating opportunities. Fantastic initiator for a support player.
Yeah, and I mean, he really does have a good brain about him, too, in terms of staying safe in the laning phase and really knowing when to turn on the aggression and when to sort of turn it off as well, which is something that I don't recommend. Never turn off the aggression. But, you know, it works for him, and I respect that. Now, Goong on your screen right now, a player that I would say, you know, maybe underperformed a little bit in the preseason. I think we're going to be looking for, I know Najin is going to be looking for a little bit more from him in these games, but it is time, guys. No more waiting. I think we're right about ready to get into picks and bans for game number 1, SKT versus Najin. Let's take a look at a few more points, though, before we do that. The win rate for Najin right now, 53.50.
This is champions only, and it's including, this is Najin Shield, and also before the Shield Sword split. So this dates all the way back to the formation of Najin, and Track Shield is the main team, and this is going to be SK Telecom Team 1K's win rate right here of 65.8%, an astounding win rate to have in champions.
It's an astounding win rate for any esport, man. I mean, if you're up in the 60s, you are one of the best. Absolutely. That's a really hard thing to do consistently. Numbers of Barons and Dragons fairly similar there, but you can see, of course, going more towards that SKT side.
Yeah, and this is for the preseason only, by the way. So you can see a little bit later, first Dragon timing right there from SK Telecom.
Key players. For mid, of course, Goong is going to be one of them for Najin e-mFire. I mean, this guy was just a monster back in the day on Ari, on Nidalee. Things have changed a lot. His pool was changed a lot, but still performing pretty well. And wow. 100%, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
And of course, FLICKR as well has played some phenomenal Lysandra games in the preseason. And easygoon played very well as well, having some great use of Karthus, which was a bit of a surprise to see. But you can see the difference there. More long-range champions coming in for easygoon versus more engage-heavy champions, or even playing a secondary AD carry. So we just have some stats here based on champions. The first one is Zed versus Lysandra. Second one
is Vladimir versus Orianna, actually. And then finally, Orianna versus Gragas down at the bottom, just checking out some of those individual champion versus champion stats. As far as Goong versus easygoon, we've got Kassadin
versus
I'm reading Korean, guys. Kassadin
Zed versus Rise, and Rise versus Orianna, finally.
That's right. I didn't know I'd have to read Korean and do an English cast at the same time. They surprised us with this one. But yeah, as you can see, the stats, of course, generally leaning a little bit more in favor of the SK Telecom players. And easygoon, you got to feel a little bit bad for this guy because he is genuinely one of the best mid laners in all of Korea, but, you know, kind of playing second fiddle to FLICKR right now. And there is Reach, of course, head coach for Najin, been around for a long time, a very famous StarCraft player from back in Broodor as well, been in esports forever. Koma, meanwhile, over on the SKT side, fantastic coach, led his squad to a championship victory in Season 3 Worlds, and now trying to do it again here in 2015.
And of course, we do have other coaches in the booth as well. Most of these teams will have 2 to 3 coaches with them at any given time, and Reach looking quite handsome today.
As always, man.
As always, the man
That's
toss.
Right. The man toss. They call him the man toss back in the day. And They still do. TOS short for Protoss, of course. That's right. Wanted to make that specific because we know we've got people joining us for the first time, on the Riot Games stream now, and you're going to learn a lot about Korean esports if you haven't been with us for a while. And so glad you're here with us now. But it is time, guys. Picks and bans for game number 1, Najin e-mFire versus SK Telecom. T1, you can see the last pick, last ban down at the bottom of your screen.
And for those of you wondering, we are still on patch 4.21.
Right.
Kalista has been enabled, so Rek'Sai, the only banned champion so far. And no, I want to see FLICKR's Azir, man.
I would be pretty shocked if we get to see that anytime soon. I mean, we've seen the highlights, right? I mean, everyone's seen the clips on Reddit. You don't want to let this guy have Azir. We don't need to have him playing a game at the professional level to know that already. Janna banned against Najin e-mFire. That's just going to be a good general ban in general. General ban in general.
So it's just
Generally
generally a strong ban.
That's right. I just love that word, apparently.
And
Lissandra banned FLICKR had an amazing couple games on Lissandra in the preseason.
Well, not to mention that we've also seen Marin have a big impact. He actually goes through for an early home guard and has made some very impressive teleport plays. So flex pick for SK Telecom. Don't want to let him have that one too up in the air, really. Kassadin, one of Duke's favorite champions. Also, it's interesting because that's a flex pick for Najin e-mFire because we've seen both Duke and Goong play that very effectively. Duke playing at AP, Duke playing Trinity Force, top playing Kassadin, we've seen it all.
Well, the Gnar band over on blue side, actually, coming out of Najin against SKT.
There we
Now
go.
wanting to first pick that themselves, and what's the last band going to be for SKT?
Koma and Marin having an intense conversation. I think they were expecting the last band Gnar, so now they're going to have to change their plan a little bit.
I think so too.
Thresh.
Yeah, you don't see that on blue side very often.
You take out the Thresh, or are they going to leave that up for a possible first pick scenario right here?
I like the Thresh band, but do you really want to give them any choice of
Maokai,
jungler?
okay.
I guess they're going to give them that anyway. Yeah, Maokai band. All right. And Renekton, I mean, Duke was a Renekton main back in the day, but do you grab that Lee Sin instead? What do you think?
I think you do. Bengi, well, Watch has never been the best Lee Sin player in Korea. Bengi had an outstanding preseason mechanically on that champion. He really looked revitalized in terms of his Lee Sin mechanics.
Yeah.
So pulling off some really impressive plays.
Well, I mean, the thing with watching SKT in the preseason is that the top lane and jungler, they just looked happy. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looked like they just felt much more comfortable being able to play the way they were. Marin finally getting to be that aggressive top laner we've all heard that he can be, and Bengi finally able to support a player like that as well. And they will take that Rumble away from Marin.
So that last ban Gnar, normally you would see a Rumble ban against Marin that has long been his best champion, stretching back all the way to the beginning of SK Telecom T1S.
That's right.
And he's been feared in solo queue on the Rumble for a long time. So they wanted to take that away first. Now, I'd be surprised if we saw an early Xerath lock here for FLICKR, even though he is exceptional on that champion. It would be bold, and it would open him to a Fizz possible counter pick here. And it would also bait out potentially an Ahri, which is a very strong matchup against Xerath. And
well, Goon plays plenty of Ahri too, and they're going to go with it anyway. I mean, this is something that SKT has done plenty of times in the past, is picking that mid laner early. And you can't blame him, man. I mean, if you're going to rely on anyone to handle that kind of thing, it's going to be FLICKR.
But we did see SK Telecom and FLICKR kind of fall on their face in the regionals for the Season 4 World Championship just because they did early pick those mid laners. They allowed FLICKR to get counterpicked. And when you know Goong is a very strong Ahri player, you have to expect that this is going to be coming.
That was a long time ago, Monte Chris, so don't bring up those bad memories.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to think about that.
This is a very important rivalry match as well. Remember that Najin was the one who prevented SK Telecom from going to Worlds last year by beating them in the last spot in the qualifier and ending up as the 3rd seed from Korea.
That's right. Shield had that amazing run through the qualifiers. And it looks like it's going to be Jarvan and Sivir picked up for Najin e-mFire now.
All right, so they're going for a very heavy engaged team fight composition. This is actually looking like a comp that would have been popular about midway through Season 3, of course. You have the Jarvan Rumble combo, and Sivir, a lot of these AD carry nerfs coming in, making a very strong return into the scene.
It's not a big shock to see these kind of comps coming back with the new emphasis that Dragon has in Season 5. The objectives become a much more important thing throughout the game, and it doesn't shock me at all to see this kind of thing popping up again.
I'm very surprised to see the early Xerath. I'm wondering if this is a trick by SK Telecom, if they have something unique planned.
Support Xerath, come on.
For this situation.
It's a thing.
And Bang will be playing Tristana, one of his signature champions. Will they lock in the Mundo? They will. So looks like SK Telecom really wants to drag this into the late game right here. The question is, will they be able to survive the early game? They've got a lot of scaling work to do right here. So much speed, so much initiation. Najin prepped to really kind of end the game in the mid game.
So do you think these picks, the Mundo Tristana pick, was kind of the plan all along by SKT, or do you think this is kind of a reactionary, uh-oh, we better just go for the late game now at this point?
I mean, they know what's coming, and Mundo will be able to survive, but SK Telecom is going to have a really difficult time holding on. The dive potential from Najin is very good. SK Telecom is going to have to be very careful with the way they contest dragons, with the Rumble and Jarvan able to lock up choke points around the dragon, and just the speed of the engage, especially if they just go ahead and select Ahri right here. I mean, the only thing that could screw this up is if that's in fact a support Xerath, but I don't think it is.
It's going to be Zed and Annie locked in, actually. A support Annie, awesome. Well, it doesn't get much more heavy engaged than a support Annie, does it?
No, and also it's worth mentioning that that has long been one of Kane's main picks. Now, he's played it out of meta basically ever since the Season 3 World Championship when Annie became a big pick thanks to the Chinese teams. He's continued to play it even after a lot of the changes to Annie. So they're kind of going back in time here a little bit. And the Zed will be able to all-in the Xerath very effectively as well. Difficult to hit skill shots with the shadows and when Deathmark is used. Now Thresh, they picked up. Thresh falling very far down the draft, surprisingly.
Yeah, it is a little bit shocking, and especially with a player like Kane that's known so much for his Thresh as well. You know, I would imagine SKT was kind of assuming he would go over to that side. But they've got a chance to pick it himself. Wolf, of course, a fantastic Thresh player in his own right as well. A solid all-around pickup. And I would imagine they're going to let that lock in. Yeah, they will. Okay, so there you go. Our rosters for Game 1. What do you think?
I'm really worried for SK Telecom. They're pretty much going to have to lane swap in this situation, I think, just to delay the game as long as possible and not get this Mundo shoved in too early. But they're going to be, I mean, FLICKR will be able to lane relatively safely 1 through 5, I think, against this Zed. But once the objectives start coming in, SK Telecom's probably going to have to give up a dragon or two unless they get some really nice poke from Xerath, or they get a TP advantage with Mundo. So there are a couple things they could do to actually contest probably the first couple of dragons, but they really just need to farm it out, make sure they have good wave clear, get Bang, probably an early static shiv alongside that explosive shot, and just clear waves with FLICKR and Bang until they hit a late game power spike. But I would be very nervous to run SK Telecom's composition. I think it's a big risk when you have so many early and mid-game focused champions on Najin.
Yeah. Do you think there's any reason to lane swap in this situation, or we're just going to see standard stuff?
I think you definitely should lane swap if you're SK Telecom, but we'll see what they do, especially when you have a player like OQ coming in. So he and Kane are very good at lane. There's a high degree of kill pressure with an Annie.
You know, there is that vulnerability, too, that Annie brings to the team where, I mean, she's very fragile all game long. You really have to be extremely aware of where you are. If you get picked, it takes away a little bit of the team fighting.
All Kane has to do is just throw his bear and die and let Rumble and Zed and Sivir pick up the pieces. So
yeah,
it doesn't
as
really...
long as the bear is down, then you can die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your job is done. Run one round of cooldowns on Annie. You actually want to die to absorb cooldowns.
That's right. Well, here we go, guys. The very first game of Champion Spring 2015. Let's do it. Wow, Watch has grown in power so much that he doesn't even need to take off his hood now. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, guys. Match 1, set 1. Najin e-mFire versus SK Telecom T1. Champions is back, guys.
So we'll second look at this level 1. SK Telecom has a lot of people on the top side of the map right now. Looks like they do want to get some wards down early. Wolf will be discovered in that brush, so see if Najin is going to call this lane swap or not, or whether they'd rather just, they are going to call it. In fact, you see Annie and Sivir recalling immediately. So, but is this a mind game now that Wolf has been seen? Will he just transfer to the bottom lane? And
it looks like they might
the reverse mind game? Find out.
Nope, turning around to follow Bang up to the top lane, so we may end up with the duos facing off in the same lane after all. Looks like for now that's what they're planning. FLICKR already getting a little bit of early poke onto Goon.
Goon actually taking the longsword first. This is pretty aggressive,
Yeah,
especially
no kidding.
with
That's bold.
FLICKR's skill shot accuracy. He really feels confident in his ability to dodge the cues from Xerath and be able to respond with damage of his own. So
Little-
interesting. That's pretty bold.
Yeah, a little bit of extra AD as well will help him with a bit of long-range farming that he might have to do if he gets poked out of lane. And, oh boy, the cheese is strong with this one.
Oh, Wolf.
Oh, Wolf, he's going to face check, and he does! Takes a little bit of damage, but things didn't turn out that bad, actually.
Yeah, no charge stun onto Kane,
Yep.
so not too bad, but early trade, every little bit helps. And it's like Najin will call the lane swap and get the lanes they wanted, and this is a pretty ideal situation for them. They're going to have a lot more pressure early. Of course, Oki will be able to control the wave with his boomerang blade. Bang's going to have to wait to get some explosive shots. And the bottom side, Mundo's just kind of going to have to play back and farm with his cleaver. So
Yeah.
lane pressure going early to Najin. And this is great for them because if they can chip away at these towers early, they can just move down to the dragon with very little fear because they'll be able to push all the lanes up to the tier 2.
And Najin gets at level 2 a little bit first as well. You know, we saw Kane helping with the auto-attacking, trying to get that XP edge, and they will push Wolf and Bang back under turret for now. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, things going about as expected. Goon taking a little bit of damage. FLICKR does not miss a lot of those skill shots, and he's going to have a little bit of a hard time hitting every single one of those creeps. You can farm okay with the Q on Zed, but wow, direct hit.
Yeah, and the
FLICKR
thing about Goong is he's really going to have to be going all in. As you take a look at some stats there at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, that's right. Looking at this specific matchup here, the points going again slightly in FLICKR's side, but not all that much. Goong has always been one of the top mid laners here in Korea, and we mentioned before, this is a big rivalry matchup. Both of these guys want to prove that they're the top mid laner.
Yeah, and this is a matchup that will tilt in Xerath's favor pre-6. And
Yeah.
then if Goong gets some help to the jungle, FLICKR's going to have to play very cautiously to make sure he doesn't get all in and die. Of course, especially with Jarvan, Zed, your flash is down, you're pretty much going to die.
These teamfight engages from Najin are going to be one of the most fun things to watch.
Oh,
ever.
yes. Very fast, very bold, very
Yeah.
aggressive.
I'm really happy to see Annie come back too. I mean, she's definitely one of the most fun champions to play, you know, in and out of lane. I think, wow, Goon getting very, very low. Gonna have to use one of those potions there, but just being able to have that crazy auto attack range on Annie and then combining that with the Spell Thief's Edge, long distance farming, it's great. Gold farming on hitting people.
I'm a bit surprised by the longsword start instead of the Doran's shield, which I would have expected in this matchup. But Goong,
It seems,
yeah, he's just going to have a rough time of it.
well, it seems like they're both trying to out-bold each other. You know, FLICKR's like, well, I'm just going to go Xerath first pick and ban. And Goong's like, well, you know what? I'm going to start Longsword. It's all right.
Yeah,
Well, they
it's-
both kind of got what they wanted, I guess.
Yeah, watch going for the Trailblazer. Well, we do see the Stalker's Blade coming in from Bengi. Pretty common choices on Jarvan and Lee Sin, respectively. Now, Bengi did get that Lee Sin pickup, though, and he has shown some really nice ganks so far in the preseason. And
Well, he's going to need to have some.
yeah, he's looking for an angle right here. He wants to get into the brush. Nice timing on that minion wave, so he'll be able to sneak right in there.
Yeah, will he be able to get an opportunity on this duo, though, for Najin? I'm not so sure. Nice ward, going down just in time. That'll help well. That'll help Bengi kind of keep an eye on things, make sure there's no one there to counter gank. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to get any opportunities anytime soon. Yeah, Kane's pretty aware of what's going on.
He's not going to make a play when he doesn't have any eyes onto Watch right now. So instead, opting to go for a pretty safe ward right there, not walking too deep into the jungle, and that's going to trigger the Raptor buff onto Watch, so he will be able to take out that ward.
It served its purpose, though.
It did.
Just wanted to get an eye on where Watch was on the map, and now he knows. And knowing is half the battle, Monte Cristo.
As they say.
That's right. Well,
Bang doing a good job of CSing in a tough lane where he's being pretty aggressively zoned by an Annie holding a stun.
yeah.
There
There we go. W stun, a little bit of damage onto Bang.
a
Shield
lot.
for Molth prevented it. Prevented some of it, but yeah, still taking about half. And he's out of pots too, so it's going to make him play a bit safer.
Considerable amount of damage for one trade. Duke playing pretty far back right now.
Yeah, well,
He knows, well, I mean, he knows that this is the dangerous situation to be in, considering that his lane is pushing up towards the top. And there we go, Goog on the roll.
oh wow, Goon going in on the Bengi, and there's a first blood taken by Duke. able to work with Goong to pick that one up. Not bad at all.
Fantastic roam right there. That's just good game sense from Najin. They correctly guessed where Bengi was going to be. They were actually, and they could have looked for a dive onto Marin right there as well. After Goong did pick that up, that Bilgewater Cutlass, that'll trigger Kane and Okyu to play very aggressively in the top lane. They don't have any fear right now, Bengi.
Whoa, flash flay. Kane gets exhausted as well. Can Bang get that kill? They're going to go in on him, grabs him, pulls him in with the death sentence. Kane flashes away. Will he make it? No, FLICKR comes in for the cleanup, and Bengi chasing Okyu. He's going to have to give that one up. Health pool just a little bit too low. But FLICKR with his first kill of the game.
That was a communication mistake between Okyu and Kane right there. They should not have split like that. He really left Kane high and dry, so it seems like they didn't actively communicate about what was going on. Bang on the recall, but here comes Goong. He's on the hunt.
Can he get out? He's in trouble now going into Okyu. There's a lantern. Can he make it out? He will, but the under turret, the death mark comes in. Will Bang survive? No, he won't. There's a kill for Goong. He needed that. Oh, he died to the turret though, and Bang gets the killing blow for that one. Meanwhile, Marin managed to get himself killed down in bot lane as well. Watch picking up the assist for that one, it looks like.
Yeah, Watch coming in right there. Interestingly, Marin didn't burn his flash, so we'll have to see how exactly this works. And SK Telecom, they're doing a good job of trading 1-for-1 right here across the map against a team that they really shouldn't be able to put this much pressure on early.
Right.
So let's
see how
check
this
this out.
works.
Duke's just going to walk right in. There's the knock-up, and
Pretty easy dive when the ult from Mundo isn't up. It was on cooldown at that point, and that makes an easy gank for Najin.
yeah, good move, though, from Watch coming down there. And no ultimate yet from Jarvan, but Marin just choosing not to use the flash.
Oh, Mundo's one of those characters, too, that, you can die a couple times early on. It's more about what he becomes in the late game, and it's not that big of a deal. Attempted blue steal from SKT, but it looks like Najin's got that locked down.
Great wards coming in from SK Telecom, though, just so they can try and make a play. And that's going to cause Najin to be a little nervous right there, especially with Marin kind of hanging out in the enemy jungle. We're seeing the lane swap back right now. Looks like Najin is interested in a little more dragon control as we close in on the 10-minute mark, and where it's a little more feasible to do with the dragon, especially since Duke has teleport advantage right now. When Marin just opted to use that after his death, now Najin has a lot more freedom on the map. So Najin should be playing to get some wards around the pit right now and try and find that opening in order to get the dragon. So FLICKR will probably try and play a little bit more aggressively at this point. He's going to want to push up that lane as well as he can, and the blue buff will help. So the key right now for SK Telecom is keeping some semblance of control over the mid lane.
They're waiting for FLICKR to come and try to get this blue, and there, Goong goes way deep, manages to back off though. They're not going to be able to take out FLICKR, and he does manage to pick up the blue buff, but nice attempt by Najin there.
Yeah, and crucially, he also chunked out FLICKR, and so that's going to prompt him to go back. Now look at the damage Okyu's putting down onto Marin. We'll see if they want to go for a dragon at this point. They certainly could. They may try for the dive first. Marin low.
Oh boy, here we go. Turret's low as well. Watch thinking about coming in. Marin slowing people down. There's a lantern. Can he get out? He can. That ultimate press the lantern. It's going to be okay. No, Duke coming in as well. The box lane defensively. Marin, his ult still Helium Wolf trying to save his top laner, and he will. But another kill for Najin.
And they got the turret as well. Now they can transition smoothly into the dragon. Now, SK Telecom, this isn't the end of the world. FLICKR's going to put down some decent damage on the mid lane. Bang's going to put some decent damage on the top lane. They're going to keep farming. They're going to push out those lanes. And again, if you're running a team composition like SK Telecom against a team composition like Najin, you have to expect that you're going to give up a few early dragons. It's going to be okay. And veteran teams will know not to panic.
Yeah.
It's fine. And they'll know not to commit to fights that they can't win at this point in the game. So instead, SK Telecom getting a little bit of pressure where they can on the opposite side of the map and making it work. Now they're only down by about 1.5k gold, and of course a dragon right now, so that's 6% in terms of
Wow,
stats.
I was going to say FLICKR could try to ult this, but Goong, he's pretty good at Dance Dance Revolution, man. He beats that one on heavy, and FLICKR can't pick it up.
FLICKR is the heavy of Xerath ults,
I was going to say, yeah, there's a couple other people, I've seen kind of like novice level, like DDR Xerath ults, but FLICKR is definitely playing it on heavy. That's for sure.
And look at this, FLICKR just going for the zone right now. He wants that turret damage, he wants that pressure, and this is a very well played game by both teams so far. Each team reacting appropriately to the pressure the other one's putting out.
Boy.
And look at this.
Oh boy, time to dive onto Duke as well. Duke flashes, gets kicked away. Good flash. Bengi's ult going the wrong direction. They do get the turret. They'll be able to walk away from that, but would have been nicer to get a turret and a kill at the same time.
SK Telecom probably should have had better timers on the flash of Duke.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a mistake there, I think, by Bengi to go ahead and use that kick so quickly. All too easy, I think, for Duke to flash away from that one. Got to keep track of those summoner timers so errors like that don't happen.
Well, they've got the timer now.
They got it now.
They've got it now, yeah.
Next time it won't happen that way. But
they saw that flash.
Regardless.
Oh, they're going to try it again. Yeah, exhaust, no flash. 3-on-1, Duke fighting for his life. Can he get a kill onto Bengi? Possibly. No, Bengi backing away, keeping it safe. Here comes Watch, though. Can he save him? Duke running away. They're going to have to flash for it. They will pick it up, but will Najim? No, Duke's still dead. In fact, they got the kill onto Bengi. Now Najim turning it around. The ult used onto Wolf. They'll get him, and Marin is going to go down as well. Najim just seems unbeatable at this point in the game. Wow, Duke actually lived.
And
how did that happen?
He kept them there for a long time. Watch.
No kidding.
Definitely there on the backup. I like the idea that Bengi tried to pull right there. I think that coming back and attempting to get another kill was a smart course of action, but everybody just roaming up right here. You can see 3 people moving through the mid lane. They've got the pressure on the mid tower, so a little bit a little bit greedy, I think. SK Telecom did get the tower down, and now they have 5 men walking towards topside Najin. So without FLICKR controlling the mid lane, too easy for Najin just to walk across the map and make that play and counter gank.
That was just incredible, man. I swear there was like one screw holding Rumble's mech together at that point.
But in spite of that, SK Telecom, they will get another tower right here. We do see that early shiv from Tristana just to keep those lanes pushed out as expected.
You know, and we've seen so many occasions in the past throughout the history of SK, Telecom K especially, where they've been down in the early game and they've come back so strong and so immediately in the mid game that you really can't count them out yet. But this early game has been all Najin.
It's going to be a pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah.
And again, this is what you expect. And SKT is actually closing the gold gap, and SKT can even miss the next dragon. And yeah, this Rumble's getting pretty scary, but Mundo, a couple early deaths, not going to be the end of the world. FLICKR has a kill, and the late game damage. The scary thing is, like, what is Zed going to do in the late game?
Yeah, exactly.
FLICKR's just going to Zhonya's. Bang will probably get a QSS, and then you're not going to kill Mundo while he's ulting. So there is a clock here on Najin. Yes, they're doing extremely well right now, but they have to end this game. If it goes to 40 minutes, SK Telecom's going to become very competitive just on the virtue of their composition, unless they have an extremely large gold deficit.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at every lane and ask yourself which of these champions is stronger in the late game, it's all on SKT's side right now.
Yes.
So it's pretty clear, like you said, what Najin needs to do. And they need
Except
to do
for
it
maybe
fast.
Jarvan, but that's
I suppose, yeah.
But that's the kind of the one exception, and it's not going to be a big enough difference to really matter.
It's not going to be a cataclysmically large change, is what you're saying. Let me all week, guys.
So we'll see how they. It looks like Goog will be heading into the bottom lane right here to get some of that split push pressure on. And
Yep.
FLICKR's done a good job keeping his tower upright, and that's going to be crucial for any subsequent dragon fights that occur. We've got another minute 20, and Najin really needs this. They need to continue to build on their lead, build on their power spike early in this game. And but with both teams having teleport up, now it'd be fantastic here if Najin could somehow force out a teleport.
We'll see. Everyone except for Bang, rather, grouped up around the mid lane. We'll see. Marin can join him anytime with his teleport, so he might as well be there too. And here we go. Yeah, looks like Goog's going to try to go in on a Bang. A lot of damage done already, and he's got it. Wow, he made that look easy.
Yeah, that's the danger right there, and you just don't have a lot to deal with this Zed at the current time. Bang didn't use his heal, but he has the knockback. Now, typically, if you're split pushing as Tristana, you can get the Zed off you due to rocket jump, due to the knockback from your ultimate. So I'm actually kind of curious how Goog managed to pull that off. Both players use their flash as well, but typically you have one more gap creator on Tristana.
Well, he didn't use his summoner heal as well. FLICKR just doing a little bit of minion clearing there. And you got to wonder, I mean, we saw the death mark barely not finish him off, and then it was the E that finally did the killing blow. If that summoner heal had been used, maybe he could have created enough difference, but Would have been close either way. Great gank by Goong. And that actually gave Kane the opportunity to get deep into the jungle and put down some really good wards as well.
Now, the problem here is Najin doesn't have pressure on mid lane, so SKT is able just to walk right into the river. So they need to do something.
Oh, boy.
There's a teleport coming in. They're using it early. Mundo is going to be doing the blue buff, so Marin trying to take something.
Was
he
that
did get the
too
blue
early,
buff
though?
right there. No, they want control over the dragon.
Looks like they'll be going for it again. FLICKR has that chance to steal as well. Wolf looking for an opportunity, throws in the death sentence, doesn't hit anyone, just zoning. That's right, the teleport coming in for Marin. Now there's the equalizer going down. Najin engages, and look at that, all over SKT. That is the team fight we were talking about. Another kill as Goong takes down FLICKR, and Wolf and Bang just left to flee the fight. Wow. That is exactly the danger that Najin's team comp presented. There you go. That's it right there, guys.
Okay, well, right here, SK Telecom, this is one of those points where you're like, you don't fight that dragon. You take what you can get. Marin had the top lane pushed. Marin could have kept on putting pressure. Marin got their blue buff. I mean, you got what you can get, but look at this engage right there. First off, that's just a great team engage. Now, Watch actually probably should have ulted the backline of Wolf and FLICKR right there because they already had everybody else locked up with Equalizer and Tibbers. But beyond that, because Wolf would have died right there if Watch had ulted the backline instead. So, you know, but for the most part, a very good engage.
Well, I mean, they got 3 kills. They got the dragon. What more can you really ask for? I mean, SKT, at this point, it is surprising that they really kind of were there for so long because, like you said, it's a team comp that's very reminiscent of what we saw a lot in Season 3 with the Najin especially kind of dragon control style comps with Rumble Jarvan, and here it is again, and what do you know? It's doing the same thing.
Yeah, you just have to, and if you're SKT right there, if the dragon goes, you have to get out immediately because your only hope is to poke them out while they're doing dragon, but Najin just turned that immediately. Good timing from the members, though. Very good coordination to go all in like that, and Najin looking very strong.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you know, along with SKT, easily the 2 strongest teams in Korea, but it really did look like there was a bit of a gap between SKT and Najin, you know, with SKT being the better team. But so far in Game 1, Najin is playing this beautifully.
But again, that was the question. We only saw 2 games.
Yeah, that's
two games
true.
with OQ and Kane. With this roster, 2 games, and it was against CJ, which, given how poor CJ is looking right now, really wasn't a great indicator of how good this Najin team was going to be.
Yeah. Well, I think Game 1 is answering a few questions anyway. And it is only 1 game. It is a best of 3. But now SKT is definitely in a bit of trouble.
Yes, they are. Now, with those 2 dragons down, this is a pretty big lead right now for Najin. If it gets any bigger, okay.
Oh, here we go. Fights in 2 parts of the map at once right now. Bengi taking a little bit of damage, tries to get away. They already take out Annie. Meanwhile, Goong again takes down Bang in the jungle. Watch getting a bit low himself. Goong comes in to grab another kill. Najin just farming these champions. A double kill, though, coming in for Marin as well. So SKT able to get a little bit out of that, but it still did go in Najin's favor.
Yeah, and it's so problematic right now because the Zed this fed, they don't. SK Telecom doesn't really have an answer for this. Marin chose to, because he was against a Rumble, itemize for magic resistance first, so he's not going to be able to split push against Zed. Yeah. Bang is really the only choice, and Bang keeps getting caught out and dying because he has inadequate wards on the bottom side of the map. If SK Telecom wants to push out this bottom lane with Bang, it's going to be up to Bengi and Wolf to get into the blue side, their blue side, get some wards down so that he's not surprised by Zed.
Yep.
He's trying to get his Infinity Edge right now, but he's very delayed. Notice that he actually decided to get a Vamp Scepter in the middle of his build just because he feels like he needs a little bit more sustain to keep himself topped off against this Zed.
Yeah, I mean, it'll help him a little bit more in the duels, but at this point against this Zed, it's not going to make a huge difference, but I suppose any little bit you can get. Looks like Najin's going to try to take this blue buff. FLICKR throwing in an ability to try to seal it, but it's not going to work out. And that is going to be a blue buff going over to OQ.
You know, Doa, I do understand in the draft what SK Telecom was trying to do to put together this full late-game comp, but I think it does prevent that big power trough, or present, rather, that big power trough in the early game, especially when you all in for the early and mid-game like Najin did. I would have rather have seen Marin play Renekton this game as opposed to this Mundo, because even though Mundo would be very strong against Najin's comp, at least they would have some early game pressure.
Yeah.
against this Rumble, and they wouldn't have been so dependent on the lane swap coming into this as well. Najin called the lane swap, and from then on, it's just been kind of lights out for SK Telecom.
Oh, Goong thinking about going in on FLICKR, but decides to change his mind there. Yeah, and I think it draws like another Season 3 parallel where back then SKTK was always the team that would lose the first game, adapt, and then come back and win the other one. So we really are kind of back in Season 3 across the board at this point.
Oh wow, Goong actually got
yeah.
tagged by a stun, taking a lot of damage from Marin.
Oh, if he would have been close enough to hit a cleaver, that would have gotten dangerous for Goong.
Yeah, FLICKR may have been able to actually kill him with an ult if he landed it properly, but FLICKR's needed that blue buff, and it's been repeatedly denied to him here by Najin, who's done a great job of getting those deep boards in, playing forward on the map, and preventing any kind of map pressure. Najin's just been in the driver's seat this entire game.
Pretty much. Well, SKT at this point, do you feel like they have much of a chance anymore? I mean, you can, with this kind of comp, I suppose you can always just stall, but have they lost too much ground? You know, is the farming potential just not there anymore?
We're really teetering on the edge right now. If it gets any worse for SK Telecom, it'll be very surprising for them to win this game. Now, FLICKR does have his Zhonya, so maybe he can do a little bit more pushing down the lane without fear of Goong's Zed, but everybody else a long ways out. I mean, Bang still doesn't have his Infinity Edge, and he needs that before he can even dream of buying a QSS.
That's actually really shocking. I mean, we usually don't see a Tristana owned so badly in the split push situation as Bang has been.
Desperation Baron right there. Tried to get some board control, but Najin is wise to their tricks. Not a bad idea, though. Not a bad idea. It would have taken them a while, but they do have Mundo ult to heal back up.
Well, you saw they were so ready, too, to just leave immediately if Najin showed up. It was just kind of one of those things where it's like, well, we'll give it a try, but we need to be ready to disengage right away. And another Dragon. Dragon number 3 possibly coming in for Najin. It doesn't look like SKT is in any position to stop them.
They're definitely not. And it's unfortunate that SK Telecom did decide to fight the second Dragon, because that was really the point where they gave Najin everything they wanted.
Yep.
And now, if they hadn't done that, they may have been actually able to contest the third Dragon, but now they can't. Duke.
Wolf on the run. He's an endangered species in that jungle now. Wolves aren't really jungle animals, are they? In that forest, we'll say, I guess.
It's not actually very jungly either.
No.
You know,
it's forest. It's wolves like redwoods, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of coniferous trees in forests. Sorry, forest,
what?
I mean a jungle, sorry.
What planet are you from? Kane taking a lot of damage. Watch coming in, trapping a few members of SKT. Goong joins the fight, gets exhausted immediately, but not before Wolf goes down, and Najin not done there. Marin, he's getting so low, even with that ult activated, they just burn right through it. Speaking of burning, Duke doing a lot of damage with that flamethrower. Meanwhile, Bang taking down a tier 2 turret, but they're going to lose so much ground at the same time.
They actually trade a tower for a tower. They can't. They're too low to push in.
They do need to go back, I guess. Yeah.
Especially with FLICKR going to revive, it would be very difficult for them to stick around because the snipe potential for the base would be pretty high. But let's take a look at that again. Gets FLICKR right away, and there we go. Just great ult right into the Jarvan pit. That's what you want to do with the Jarvan Rumble combo. FLICKR tries to use the Zhonyas, but not much happening there. Goong immediately getting back under the tower and then escaping with just a sliver of health before they turn on the turret to kill it. Great engage there, but that's the thing. This team comp from Najin has such an extreme amount of engage that if they get ahead, they can dive you very, very easily. And
do dive. It's the Najin way.
It's the new Najin way, yes.
That's right. Well, it was the old Najin way. Now it's again the Najin way. Before it was do zigs. Now it's do dive again. I like this better. I'm happy we're back to do dive.
Do winions was the Najin shield way.
Yeah. Effective, but not anywhere near as entertaining.
Prance around the map until super minions win the game for you.
That's right. I like that you use prance there. I feel like that's a very accurate term.
It's very descriptive of their play.
Just kind of lollygagging a bit even, I would say. Frolicking about.
Carefree, waiting for the minions to do their dirty work for them. But
That's
the diving Najin.
Very zen, peaceful way. Don't worry, dudes. The minions have got it. Little fight over the red buff. Looks like Najin might get it. They're going to go on to Benki as well. Equalizer hits a lot of member of SKT. That was beautiful. Bang over the wall. Can he get away, though? More damage coming in from Duke. Bang has to try to kite back. Doesn't matter, though. Najin still trades 1 for 2. And will We'll see if they're able to turn that into another objective here.
Well, Marin does finally have an armor item, so he's got that going for him, which
good
is
for
nice.
him. Yeah, proud.
But he has just been a target for Goong. And
Yeah, well, everyone's kind of a target for Goong at this point. FLICKR and Bang able to push back Najin just for the moment, but FLICKR's got to be so careful. Oh, man. Very fragile still.
things you don't want to see in a game. 25 minutes in, 8-1 and 6 Zed.
Yep.
Pretty darn scary. And I still really nobody who can even remotely deal with his split pushing.
Other things you don't want to see in a game are like Mundo versus Mundo blind pick. Yeah,
That's
that
true.
would
That's
not be very
pretty
fun.
boring.
Oh, they're trying to come in onto Goong here. They got a little bit of a slow. There's a Q. It's landed. Wolf coming in as well. Tries to bring in FLICKR with the lantern. Can they finally kill him? There's a flash. Oh, test sentence missed. And somewhere a single tear rolls down Shen's face. It's like Zed is the ninja I always wish I could be.
That was a very ninja-esque escape, wasn't it?
It was, man. He vanished. Well, just right there, too.
Vanishes right to the ground.
See, Zed was the original Rek'Sai because he was clearly tunneling through the ground to go where he needed to go, too. Yeah. Rek'Sai is just a copycat.
I think he actually trained with Rek'Sai.
That's right.
That's where he learned his tricks.
It's a great idea. Like, now this weird, like, bug thing will show you how to be underground. So it's like, all right, cool. Sounds useful. I can dig it. Get it? Get it?
Can you dig it?
You can dig it.
You're terrible. All right, here we go.
Here we go. That's not a terrible engage by Najin, really. SKT, though. Oh, they do manage to almost rescue Bang, but Goong managed to get that death sentence off. Wolf's in the back line, though. Goong gets kicked away by Bengi. Duke is there, though. Another kill onto Wolf. Given to Goong, and Najin just cannot be stopped. Pushing down that mid lane. Another 3 kills. Wow, and yeah, why not just go grab Baron at this point? I'd imagine they're heading that direction. FLICKR, a little bit of frustration on his face there.
Well, he was the one who blind picked Xerath into Zed, and yeah, he did well early, but
Oh, man.
it's rough. I mean, Xerath's a good champion if you're not playing against an assassin, but
Yeah.
when you know Goong, Goong doesn't have the biggest champion pool, but what can Goong play? Zed, Ahri, LeBlanc, all very well. These are all very problematic champions for Xerath to deal with. And
Yes. The first pick Xerath may not be wise. Yeah, I just noticed, too, that Baron is apparently one of those people that doesn't take his Christmas decorations down until, like, April, you know? Well, there we see the engage FLICKR Zonias right away, but already too late.
yeah, another great initiation combo right there.
Nice equalizer splitting up the team.
I like how Goong just allows Goong and Rumble Duke walk forward. They get the ult down, but they continue to pursue the backline and just let the rest of the members of Najin clean up FLICKR while
Yeah, why
he's
not?
burning from the equalizer. Great team fighting right there. And as a result, they get a lot more kills than they otherwise would have. And Bang again going down to this Zed. And as you can see, our little dragon counter, 3 blue dots.
Nice.
0 red dots. And we're about to see another blue dot right now. And they are inching closer to that very powerful 5 dragon stacks.
That's right. And if we have both colors and dots at the same time, a little Morpheus is going to pop up and ask which one you want. Yeah. Actually, that's not going to happen, but I wish it would. We'll have to talk to OGN about that.
Lawrence Fishburne's head just appears at the bottom of your screen.
I think if that happens, so we need to incorporate the Mortal Kombat thing, and he just goes, Toasty! That happens.
There we go.
That'd be great.
Nailed it.
We have the best ideas. SKT fighting for their lives now. And I don't think they're going to last too much longer. I mean, well, I may have to change that statement because you can kind of sit in your base and drag things out quite a bit with the champions that they have, but that may not help them win the game. We'll put it that way.
Interesting that we see the Ghost Blade on the Sipper.
Oh, yeah.
So that's actually going to give a lot of split pushing power, and because you can activate it and just knock down towers.
Oh, Marin trying to stop him. Bengi just gets blown up trying to go in and make a play. Didn't work. Watch, manages to trap Marin. They get the flash. Goon comes in, gets the double kill, and they're going to be happy with an inhibitor after that. And they're just going to go, man. I mean, okay. Yeah, not enough minions, I suppose. Why not play it safe?
Go ahead and take another inhibitor.
Yep.
Najin has to win via super minions. They're not actually.
That's
Did
right.
you know the Najin players are actually instructed never to hit the Nexus?
I think that's true, actually. I read that somewhere, you know. It must be true. That's right. Reach is, you know, he just like, he looks in through the booth window. He can't say anything, but he just looks at Goong and he shakes his head when Goong gets close to the Nexus. And Goong's like, okay. If you go home to like reach his apartment, there's like framed pictures of super minions above his bed and stuff like that. Little candles around him. Those super minions deliver us victory tonight.
Oh, Goong has a GA now. That's not good. Oh, we got a Hex Drinker while he was at it. Here we go.
Yeah, well, it's not good for FLICKR anyway. FLICKR gets away on the Lantern. Goong a lot of damage already. There's his Zomias to prevent that Death Mark from doing its work. Oh, what an equalizer. SKT split up again. Duke taking some damage, though. Bang in the back line. FLICKR very low. Watch, just assigned to jungle 1v3 it, I guess. Marin manages to escape here, so no kills quite yet. Oh, spoke too soon. Bengi having to flash. Will they be able to finish him? They will. OQ comes from the side. Now going in onto Bang. A lot of damage done to him already. Wolf gets a death sentence onto Kane, and the poke's not going to matter. Look at all that damage coming in from Duke as well. And FLICKR, oh, from downtown.
Oh,
and
nearly gets the double.
Almost gets it. He's on fire. But no.
More
this game
on electric, actually.
I know. Whoa, FLICKR just got NBA jammed. And Goong is the one who's truly on fire this game, as it looks like Najin is going to be allowed now that the super minions are in the base to end the game. And that is it. GG, guys. Najin taking the first game of Champion Spring against SK Telecom.
Yeah, Najin showing that they can hang with the best here in Korea after a tough loss in the preseason. Great
Crush
play.
the best.
Well, to be honest, I think this was very much exacerbated by SK Telecom's pretty poor pick and ban phase.
Yeah.
I think they'll adapt, and we won't see such a one-sided game in the second one of the night.
Well, we've certainly seen SKT be able to adapt like that in the past and come back and win in some very, very down-and-out situations. But it's got to feel good to take that first game against a player like FLICKR.
Yeah,
The gods tremble.
Bengi too. Pretty questionable game. 0-7-3.
Yeah.
Meantime, 13-1-7 score out of Zed. That's something you don't want to see if you're on the enemy team.
That's something you just don't want to see ever, really.
Hey, I liked watching it.
Even if you are Zed, you're like, whoa, I'm getting a little bit too many kills this game. This is getting a little bit frightening for me, even.
I'm a little bit out of control right now, but
That's
Duke.
right. Somebody stop me.
Duke with some great ults that game as well. He really followed up on the initiations nicely, made the most out of Watch's Cataclysms and the Sivir ult as well.
Yep.
Got in there, and great Rumble play.
OQ showing up when he needed to, getting work done.
So yeah, we will be coming into game 2. Remember, this is going to be a best of 3. Najin is dominating. That is true. They did just dominate pretty hard.
Pretty much a good description of game 1. Yeah, and I'd agree with that fan right there. You got it right. We'll be back for game 2, guys, right after this. Don't go anywhere. And we are back on Champion Spring, guys, and the MVP is Duke for that top lane Rumble play. He really made a difference with those huge equalizers.
Yeah, great team fighting, great initiation. Hard to pick an MVP this game, kind of very well all around played by Najin.
It was, yeah.
And they really just looked very comfortable with that team composition. They pushed their power spike extremely well, snowballed that game beautifully.
Well, you know, we had that moment where we're like, you know, will Najin do what they need to do and get the edge they need to finish this early? And they did exactly that.
Wow, look
this
at this.
This was a great snipe right there. Yeah.
No, if you look at that Rumble, I want to go back to that because he actually hit him in the brush and then hit his escape route on the W jump too. That is crazy good Rumble ult right there. And another excellent one as we see them just clean up. And Duke's going to actually live through this. Surprisingly, the rest of his team running up the lane.
Yeah.
Duke kind of walking around the outside of his own equalizer, saving that flash. Oh, he didn't use it. He didn't have his flash there. That's right. He actually gets.
Well, that's why they tried to gank him. Yeah, because his flash was
and
down.
watch right there, just using his ult very well to corral Marin and make sure there wasn't going to be any follow-up.
Yep.
And they're able to clean up the fight. Now, unwise of SKT to even start fighting like that when they didn't have any eyes on most of the players on Najin, and the mid was pushed up. It did make it easy for them just to walk up the river and respond. But all the same, SK Telecom's going to have to try a different strategy. They shouldn't pick champions that kind of lose all the... Well, Xerath won the lane, but wasn't able to prevent Goons roaming right there very effectively. And still, just Xerath, an extremely dangerous champion to pick against that. And I think SK Telecom really had a poor draft phase in that first game, and they're going to need to rectify that a little bit. Maybe got a little bit cocky. First round of the draft, selecting Xerath on red side.
Well, what else could that be, really? Yeah, it was a very bold move, and yeah, it is FLICKR, but we've seen that, you know, even FLICKR, if you put him in a situation like that, is going to struggle, and he certainly did.
He's your star player. Don't counterpick him.
Yeah, exactly. So, we've got a bit
ominous.
of an ominous soundtrack going on. Oh boy, all sorts of new things. And keep in mind, guys, the reason why it's so ominous and mysterious is because teams have the option to switch players between games if they have someone else on their roster that they want to switch with. No changes for Najin, though.
Got all of the same members.
Yeah.
Of course, that will be Kane, OQ, Goom, Watch, and Duke.
Yep.
Coming in once again. Why change something if it's working, right, Doa?
Exactly. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's right. And so, that means that this suspense will continue to build. I'm getting very nervous now. I feel like, you know, one of two things is going to happen here. Either nothing's going to be different on SKT, or some WWF wrestler is going to make a big entrance in the crowd. One of those two things.
It's WWE now.
Oh, it is? Oh, man, I'm truly stuck in the 90s, aren't I? Wait, what's this? What's this I spy in the SKT booth? It's not FLICKR. It's easyhoon. FLICKR. Here's how we operate. We pick our star player into an unfavorable matchup, and then we kick him out when he doesn't do well. So easyhoon in for FLICKR now.
Now, easyhoon did have some great performances in the
He's a fantastic mid laner.
He's a very good mid laner.
Yeah.
And so...
It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, easily would be the starting mid laner on probably any other team here in Champions. Maybe not Goong, but definitely a very different style. You can see now he's the player who likes these more long-range picks. He specializes in that, much less of an assassin player, and really busts out the Karthus again. Had a great game on Karthus, and his Jace has been top-notch as well. So I'm interested to see if they vary up the strategy right here. Now, SK Telecom has played more siege-style compositions when they've had easyhoon.
Very true, and easyhoon has always been one of the more kind of hang back, build up the damage over the game kind of player, but look at that, so accurate, especially with that Jace.
I like how OGN has all of these highlight clips for like every player prepared. This is awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh man, there's so many highlights to begin with. And look at that, playing with that
this is where he stole the
very rare, yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't. But yeah, coming in, doing some work in the hammer stance as Jace, and
Power Slam!
It does change the dynamic of the team a little bit, I will say, because now this team is basically SK Telecom S with Bengi hit the jungle.
Oh, he's even got easyhoon on his headset, wow. So we know it really is him.
And funny story, why he's named easyhoon is his name is actually E.G. Hoon.
Yeah, his Korean name is E.G. Hoon.
So he changed it just to easyhoon,
Sounds like
A little
easy.
bit play on words there. And now the coach is back in the booth for picks and bans. Koma
right.
has been unleashed.
He was like yelling on his way into the booth. He's like, all right, you saw what we did to FLICKR. Easy, when you better play well and reach. Oh, the jacket is off. It's
means
serious
business
now.
now.
He's like, all right, guys, we got one win, but I'm taking the jacket off. Things are getting real now. We need 2 wins to take this one home, guys. Koma looking a bit frazzled there. Or he just took off his hat, one of the two. Nice turtleneck, though.
I'm excited to see what SK Telecom does to adapt. It's weird because SK Telecom had some just brilliant pick ban faces during the preseason. But also we've seen the SK Telecom that has very odd pick ban faces like we saw during the Korean regionals right before Worlds. And this was definitely more of the latter.
Well, it's just like Luke Skywalker told the Empire at the end of Return of the Jedi, your overconfidence is your weakness. Yeah, and sometimes it can be for the Empire of SK Telecom. It kind of fits, doesn't it? Well, here we go. Picks and bans for game number 2, SKT T1 versus Najin e-mFire. Do you realize, Monte Cristo, a new Star Wars movie comes out this year? I get shivers every time I think about it. You don't say anything now because you're just going to, pretend I like the prequels or something, which I don't. Let's talk about picks and bans. LeBlanc, banned by SKT. Najin bans Lissandra. What do you have to say about that and nothing else?
Expected against Goong. So they are making some modifications. Of course, SK Telecom for top lane bans, Kassadin and Maokai. We'll see if they ban the Kassadin again this time around. Very much a Najin style pick. I'm surprised they banned Lissandra. They're very worried about that from Mar and Easy, who that's not been a champion that's really been on his radar. Now Annie.
Wow, Annie ban against Kane.
Haven't seen an Annie ban in a while.
No kidding. We really are going full Season 3, aren't we? Look at that.
Well,
although that wasn't really Season 3 until the very end, was it?
If you don't want to deal with the pocket pick, and it can be valuable, and Kane did set up some nice team fights there, and it is kind of a pain to lane against as well.
Yeah.
If you have a very aggressive duo like OQ and Kane. Now there's Rumble.
We'll ban that against Marin. Not a big shock there.
They don't want it first pick.
Yep.
So Gnar, the question is, where is the Gnar ban coming in? It has been almost exclusively banned here in Korea. Very rare that we see it even get through bans, and then it is, of course, immediately picked.
It's worth mentioning, too, that Azir is not banned right now, and Kalista is technically available. Now, it usually takes a month or two for Korean teams to pick up a new champion like that, but she is out there.
This is very strong. It's just, I think it's one of those champions that's going to take a lot of time
Definitely.
to get used to, because she plays unlike any other AD carry. So
Are
a
they?
bit more of a specialized skill that ADs are going to have to develop before they're comfortable running it at the professional level.
Do you think they're going to first pick Azir for Easy Hoon? We did see him play it during the preseason. It's a strong pick, but is it strong enough to first pick? Is it good enough to take that risk, you know?
I mean, I don't really see Goong as an Azir player. He's more of an assassin player, generally speaking, so I wouldn't necessarily place the priority on that.
It's not as much his style, but then again, I mean, the theme of the season, Monte Cristo, it's mystery. We don't know what these guys have been playing in the offseason.
I wonder if they're going to take the Maokai first, or the Janna, yeah.
Okay.
Here, they did ban out the Maokai last game.
Well, Janna does make a lot of sense, too. Janna and Maokai both banned last game, yeah. This is going to leave 2 really good picks, though, up for Najin. I mean, Lee Sin,
Thresh.
Still available as well. Thresh, yep, you're right. Jarvan, for that matter, too. And Lee Sin will go ahead and grab that watch, or vice versa, rather.
Just flip that one around.
You don't choose Lee Sin. Lee Sin chooses you, Monte Cristo. That's how it works here in Korea. Might switch over to that Elise, too. Watch has always been a big-time Elise player.
I'd love to see Dukes Aurelia. It's one of my favorite champions to watch him play.
Definitely. It looks like, if they lock these in, very much comfort picks for these 2 players.
Yeah, and
Well, still, comfort picks.
this is the way Najin tends to draft. When Duke will play a carry-oriented top laner, they will have Watch play something like Elise and build full tank.
Yeah.
Because Watch does, at least in Shield, did tend to be the primary tank of the team, with Save and Goom opting for more carry-style champions. Now, the Jace pickup.
Well, we didn't even talk about that. That would be a good takeaway from Easy Hoon.
question is, can Goon play it, or is Duke going to play it?
Well, it's one of those flex picks. That's one of the great things about Season 5 right now is that I feel like we have a lot more flex picks than we have had in previous seasons.
The thing is, I wouldn't have banned Rumble if I was planning, because the odds of SK Telecom first picking Jace were not very good, and you could have maybe baited them into a Rumble first pick and then counter-picked the top lane with Jace, which has been very effective in 1v1 lanes. So I'm not sure if Najin thought far enough ahead in terms of this draft as to what they were going to do.
Really? easyHoon with the Xerath. Okay. Interesting. So,
Oh, man.
poor FLICKR sitting on the bench right now. He's like, oh no.
Well, the Maokai, in one of those clips, we did see the Xerath Maokai combo when easyHoon was playing on SK Telecom. And of course, that does provide, he's got a ton of peel for himself right now, so that crisis could be a bit averted, but even so, Ahri is going to be a powerful pick right here.
Why do I feel like the season is going to end with FLICKR and easyHoon battling on a mountaintop with claymores, yelling, there can be only one? I feel like that's the direction we're heading now.
That'd be a pretty good end to the season, I think.
It would be awesome, man. Let's talk to OGN and see if we can make that happen. You know, forget the K-pop band. I want the easyHoon versus FLICKR sword duel on top of a mountain. Great. And all right, might be Nami Tristana. Pickups for Najin. All right. Nami's still a very strong champion and really synergizes well with Jace and Tristana as well.
I like that. We get to see OQ's version of Tristana this game. Generally, I think more suited to his style than Bang's. And Bang going for Corki would be a bit more in his wheelhouse.
It would, and it would start to put together a pretty decent-looking siege comp for SKT as well.
Yeah, that's what they want. They're changing it up. They're going for a little bit of an earlier power spike this game than they did last time, and they'll have a bit more pressure in the lanes this time around, depending, of course, on what Najin picks. But just, hey, Binky, sticking his tongue out. But depending on the champion pool from Goong, unless he has added Jace to his pool.
You know, if your fingers are a little bit too dry, just lick them a little bit so they don't slide off the keys or something, you know?
Yeah, got to stick them to the keys, you know?
Yeah, if you're playing so fast sometimes, the APM gets so high, you just slip off and you like run your hand into the monitor or something. You're like, not again. How many monitors has Benki punched a hole in that way? I wonder.
And there's a Renekton.
Okay. Yep, not surprising at all. Duke, of course, a long-time Renekton main, and Goong will be taking that Jace in the mid lane if it gets locked in. We'll see if they change it.
I'm going to be very intrigued to see Goong's Jace.
Ooh. Sion is easily one of my favorite champions to watch right now because his ults are always hilarious, man.
It's pretty fun, and no Jarvan to, well, he's got Jarvan on his team, but enemy team Jarvan is kind of the bane of Sion because you can just stop him immediately.
Watch could totally troll him, you know, just Cataclysm right on top of him when he's on. Don't do that in solo queue. Pretend I didn't say that.
I think Mundo's the better pick here. You've got a good balance, but now, interestingly, Najin is in a very similar situation to what SK Telecom. They've gone for the Mundo. They've gone for the Tristana this game. And you know, they're not necessarily going to have a lot of pressure in the mid lane either. That's going to be pretty much just long-range farming from Jace and Xerath. So SK Telecom's able to press an advantage with this Corki Xerath. And of course, you're looking at the Trinity Force, basically a one-item power spike with upgraded boots on Corki. And that's going to coincide with Xerath's power spike off of one or two items as well. And that's when you start grouping and sieging very effectively.
Yep, that's right. Well, let's take a look at the final rosters for game number 2 between Naj and SKT. Duke on Dr. Mundo, Marin on Maokai.
And pretty passive lanes right there. I
Yep,
assume we're going to see standard lanes this game.
pretty much.
But both back lines coming in with a lot of peel right here.
And Elysian and Jarvan both look very pouty in those pictures, don't they? Like, oh man, I didn't get what I wanted for Christmas. Oh well. Goong on Jace, easyHoon on Xerath. We'll see if easyHoon Xerath can outperform FLICKR's Xerath at game number 1. And Jace, of course, a flashy champion. Can Goong handle it? And OQ on Tristana, Bang on Corki.
I'm really looking forward to seeing OQ on Tristana.
Yeah.
He's always had very impressive Tristana games, so see if we can pull it out one more time.
Haven't seen enough OQ in general up until now. And Kane on Nami finally down to support, and Wolf manages to pick up the Janna and picks and bans. So here we go, guys. Will Najin get the 2-0 and make a big statement to the opening match of Champions Spring, or will SKT keep it going? Let's get in the game and find out. You know, the beginning of every season, OGN is like, our intro's not done yet. Let's just get a big clip of Watch and throw it up on the screen.
It keeps the fangirls happy,
yeah, everybody's happy with that, you know? It's, like I said, like, should we have him take off his hood or something? No, we already did that. Just have him look at the camera. Should he snap his fingers this time? No, we already did that too. Just have him look. This is like the purest Watch clip we've ever had at the beginning of a Champions season. It's amazing.
Unadulterated Watch.
That's right.
Just the way I like my Watch.
Triple distilled Watch. This is the third time they've done it, so it's the most distilled now. You can even, like, you know, do like the college thing and run it through a Brita filter one more time just to distill it even more. Shut up, Nami.
Your favorite skin is back, Dylan.
Guess you can say that.
Ooh, lane swap. Najin. So showing it a little bit on the bottom side, and then pulling the old switcheroo.
Yep. The old League of Legends switcheroo.
That's how you roll, man. So interestingly, Najin looks like they're going to be starting on the opposite side of the jungle as their dual lane. And this time, the lane swap won't be called. And we will see SK Telecom heading right into the bottom lane, but they're not going to freeze this wave. Oh, yes, they are. Now they're finally moving to make sure they can actually get a lane freeze down. They were thinking about going and doing them Krugs, but now both teams will get
Krug life, man.
Krug life.
Damn Krugs.
They decided not that the Krug life wasn't for them, and now they're just going to lane freeze.
Well, just like Lee Sin chooses you, the Krug life does as well. Didn't choose him that time, though. Almost chosen by the Krug life. Yep. The Doa story.
He said, all right, I'll keep that in mind. I look forward to your autobiography.
It's a little preview there, a little teaser, as they call it these days. That's right.
A little bit of an atypical start right there with both jungle top lanes beginning on the opposite side of the map of the duo. That can end poorly if you're not careful at times, but instead we are going to have Duke walk right back in the lane. Marin continuing. Jungle follow. You can see some stats right there. 100% win on both Corki for Bang and Tristana for OQ.
That KDA, though, man, 8.14 for OQ.
He's a pretty impressive Tristana player, that's for sure.
It certainly is. He generally doesn't have very low KDAs in general. Generally. Is that word again?
This is haunting you tonight.
I guess so.
I'm a bit surprised that Duke walked into lane so early, considering that the freeze was achieved in the bottom side by SK Telecom. But they
there wasn't a lot to gain.
They put Kane down there now, and you can see OQ, he's level 2, but he's holding his skills right now. He hasn't skilled anything up. This is just so you can have control over the lane as Tristana, not uncontrollably push it with explosive shots. So typically we see most Tristanas in lane swap hold off on skilling until pretty late.
Yeah.
But they have that tool in the back pocket should they need to push for any reason. In the meantime, Duke is actually getting some CS right here with the help of Kane, and Wolf already awaiting Marin's appearance up in the top side. Double Doran's ring now for Marin.
Yeah, and Marin already with a little bit of a CS lead to begin with. So, nice little edge there. And OQ will just let that one push back in top lane for a little while.
Really going to be interested to see how Goong does.
Oh boy, oh, Wolf gets caught by Watch here. He might have to burn a summoner. We'll see. W to knock him away. Nope, doesn't have to flash or anything like that.
No, Easy Hoon has mid pushed up, so he knew he was all right there.
Yeah, that's right.
A little bit bold to go in. He will take some damage. Now Goong on Jace. Bit of a new champion for him. Always interesting to see Goong play a new champion because he does it so rarely.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of those players that, like we said, his champion pool's been the same for a long time. You know, when you think about his champions, though, yeah, he does prefer more of the assassins, but I feel like Jace could fit into his champion pool.
I mean, he did have very good accuracy with Nidalee Spears back in the day. So
yeah, exactly.
it's not the most shocking champion seeing him play, but
Now, we just found this out the other day. The Korean name for the wolves, if you translate it directly from Korean, it just is Big Growling Wolf.
the big one.
Yep, the big growling one.
The big growling one.
Yep, the big growling one,
It
yeah.
growls twice as much as other wolves because it has 2 heads.
Double the growl, that's right. You don't get double the gold or experience. What's the deal, Riot? Come on. Jeez. Oh, Duke trying his best to farm here.
He's actually doing a surprisingly good job against Bang.
He's keeping up pretty well, yeah.
Now that he's been left to his own devices as well. Corky, very good in these 1v1 lane swaps. Powerful champion. Can keep you zoned out pretty nicely. So I think Bang could be playing this a bit more aggressively than he is right now. Punishing the Mundo a little more.
Yep. You're going to see a pretty passive early part of this game here. And here comes Nami. Oh boy.
Back in the lane.
That's right.
But that'll give Marin a good chance to go back without his teleport up. He needed that, and Wolf is going to get found out by the spirit of a wolf.
Yep,
the
the
enemy
wolf.
jungle.
The wolf spirit.
Betrayed by his own spirit.
The growling wolf spirit. He's like, you're the spirit of me. Maybe hidden passive. All the wolves are on the wolf's side to begin with.
Wow. That'd be great if you could name yourself like that and get some advantages.
So I would name myself Baron immediately.
Baron Slayer.
That's right. I would name myself Exalted with Baron and just see what happens, you know?
Well, not a lot to say about this early game. Najin playing.
Oh, here we go. Wolf getting caught again. Nice whirlwind, though.
Wolf and Bengi are not actually working particularly well right now to get these wards down. They could be a bit more coordinated in their map movements to make sure that they're not getting chunked out. And that's been a couple close calls, I think, for Wolf right there. And
I do feel like he's gotten a
Bengi
bit
should be
lucky.
backing him up a little bit
Yeah.
on some of these moves.
Oh, he's standing in a ward, so they won't be able to make any sort of play on Duke right before level 6 or anything like that, but nice idea. It's the thought that counts, you know.
Wolf standing in a ward, he's going to get bubbled right here. They're waiting
Yeah,
for Watch.
he is. Well, they're going to go in onto Duke here. We'll see. Oh, yeah, there's Watch. And he just happens to walk out in time. Wow. Wolf has just been extremely lucky this game in several situations.
Yeah, ward expiring right there at the end as well.
Yeah. It's lucky Wolf.
And that roam was actually pretty well disguised too, because that could have looked like Goon was just going for the blue buff on the second spawn.
Yep. Oh, Q. Rocket jumping back under turret. He needs to be a bit careful here because here comes Izu, and yeah, continues to back away. They're going to go ahead and slow him down with the smite, and will they be able to get him? They will. First blood taken by SKT goes to Bengi. Nice.
Yeah, very well coordinated right there. Good chilling smite. Now Maokai's going to get a lot of farm, put some pressure on the turret by farming behind it. Can they actually pull off a red steal? Looks like no. Oh, Bengi going in. Okay.
He wants more, man. He's not satisfied with just first blood.
That was pretty dangerous with Easy playing so far back in mid lane.
Yep.
They could have opened themselves. If there had been a ward in the river, Duke could have maybe teleported into that one.
See, Bengi's like Rambo, though, because he was like, he just wants basically an unlimited numbers of follow-ups to first blood.
I see.
As many as you can. You get it now? All right, good.
That was good. Good joke, Noah.
Thank you so much.
I wish he looked like Stallone, too.
We can work on that. You know, can work out.
Good training montage. That's what Bengi needs.
That's right. Well, we're crossing movies here.
That's true.
Rocky training montage. I mean, we're same actor, but yeah, same jungler. We'll make it happen. And Goon, wow, doing a very good job of pushing Izuhoon back, getting a pretty decent CS lead, and putting a lot of pressure on this mid lane. Certainly looking pretty good with the Jace so far.
Yeah, neither mid lane are recalling it either, so pretty farm heavy, not a lot of trading so far in the mid lane, and junglers have been mostly farming here so far. Yeah. One exception, that gank from Bengi, but Duke's not going to be too worried about that death early. Certainly not the end of the world. The question is, can they survive again the siege that's going to come in from Xerath and Corky? About 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes. If they continue on their current trajectory and they can get into a position to group up in the mid lane and start knocking down some of these towers, that will be ideal for them.
Well, that's the idea. You know, you want to hit that big mid-game power spike with these Corki Siege compositions.
Especially Corki Xerath. That's a big one. You need to nail that power spike, otherwise you do end up in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But you also have very good control. Once you can get control of the mid lane, you will default get control of Dragon as well, because the poke will make it very difficult for Najin to take that objective, and you just have to kind of hold on until this Tristana gets big, but they're going to be pretty reliant on OQ in the late game.
Oh boy. We'll take out that ward. And they are starting to push things up just a little bit more. Bengi and Wolf waiting, seeing if they get any sort of opportunities here. Watch is in the other brush, and Najin's the ones with the ward right now. Yeah, so SKT does need to back off. They're going to go in onto OQ here. OQ on his own. Bang is there as well. Valkyrie's in, gets the exhaust down. Rocket jump. There's the knockup. Can they finish him? Doesn't look like it. He still had his summoner heal available.
Wow, that was a great buster shot onto Bengi to make sure that there wasn't anything to close that gap right there.
That's kind of a weird, interesting little interaction there between the Dragon's Rage and the buster shot.
It happens sometimes.
It's kind of fun to see.
Tristan and Lisa together. So,
yeah.
And he's going to hold on to the turret too. So, a lot of resources used on that gank. Important summoner now down, and not much gained for SK Telecom.
Not a lot.
Especially with OQ's flash down. Bengi had to use his flash right there as well. Now back to some passive laning, Della. Aren't you excited?
Enjoying your preview of Farm Simulator 2015. It's a brand new edition, guys. It's wonderful.
You'll like it just as much as last year's
That's
version.
right, or else. I mean, you'll love it. They've got normal lanes now.
Well, this will actually start heating up in terms of action. It's just that both of these teams did want to farm in the early game to about that 15-minute mark. Najin's going to want to farm a little bit longer.
We're about a minute away from when teams are going to start to go for that dragon now as well. It's usually about 13 and a half-ish when we're seeing most of the dragons in these Korean League of Legends games.
Yeah, it'll probably be backed up just a little bit more in this game in particular, just because Najin not really going to want to go for it earlier, and SKT is dependent on an item power spike, so maybe a little bit later this game, but yeah, generally speaking. And as for this game, it's going to be some more farming for a little bit.
True. Yep. SKT again, you know, they just want to keep that lane pressure on so that when they have the opportunity to maybe go for a dragon, they have the lanes moving the way they want them to.
Mar did a lot of work on the top side, though. Even that little of dirty farming behind the turret there did stack up, as our observer was showing you just a second ago. A lot of damage onto the top side.
Yeah, that thing's almost dead. He hasn't taken a hit on his turret
Right,
yet.
and bottom turret is very close to being dead as well. So they've got good control over side lanes, and once they push out those side lanes, they're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on mid.
Oh, that was close, man. Didn't steal it. Goon managed to get that blue buff. Nice attempt, though, by easyHoon there.
There's one tower down.
Yep, they're going to start knocking him down, it looks like. It is about that time. Duke's just going to look over the work he did. He's like, yeah, pretty much knocked it down.
Well, he lost his tower.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, pretty much lost my tower. Yep, that's it.
He's like, sheds a single tear over the corpse of his tower.
Mundo cry. It's true. Well, the bottom one about ready to fall as well. And yeah, SKT, I mean, it's been such a passive game. Sometimes it looks, you know, like there's not a lot going on, and that's because it's all very subtle. It's all about getting those little bits of tower damage done throughout the first 15 minutes or so, and then it all starts to get knocked down like a string of dominoes.
Yeah, this is an important moment. Najin actually making a move. easyHoon. This would be a really good dragon for Najin to take.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great timing for Najin.
Really
they
smart.
should not be allowed to get this dragon right here, but due to Goong chunking easyHoon out right there, they're going to find themselves a bit of a window, and they're going to grab it.
Yeah, easily taking that dragon.
Important dragon for Najin, because they're able to take some of the wind out of the sails of SK Telecom right after they're going to hit this power spike. We see the Trinity Force now done on Corki. easyHoon went back, so clever little timing window there from Najin.
Yeah. And that really is great, too. Like you said, it does kind of stall a bit of the momentum because there was nothing they could do
Yep.
as far as losing
And
these turrets
if
go.
they
So
hadn't, if they hadn't gotten it right then, they would have just gotten their bottom lane shoved in and lost it.
yeah, the map control would get a little bit too strong for SKT at that
Yep.
point, and you're not going to get a chance to take the dragon then.
Yeah, very, very good play. Najin's been doing a good job of hitting some narrow timings tonight so far. They're looking quite strong.
Yeah, SKT wants to try to take this red buff, and they won't be able to quite grab it. I think that'd be a bit awkward for Maokai as well, because it is kind of, it looks like a tree animal too, so I don't think he wants to do that. You ever notice he's got a face on his arm? You ever think he talks to it?
It's like a hand puppet for him.
I guess so.
He's a really good ventriloquist. Did you know that? That's why he has that.
I don't see his mouth moves when he talks. That's true. I think a lot of champions are good ventriloquists in that regard. Yeah, that's a good point. See, this is why you're such a great analyst. You're so detail-oriented, Monty. It's impressive stuff.
You know, it's just all about knowing who is and is not a circus performer in this game.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just thinking about Maokai, you know, waking up in the morning, he's like, how you doing, Arm? And Arm's like, well, you slept on me all night, so not so great. Thanks for asking.
Would you say Maokai's act is rather wooden, though?
I would say so, yeah. His delivery is a bit stiff, certainly, yeah. OQ trying to get a little bit of farm done in the bot lane, catching up to Bang. And SKT going to be putting a lot more focus onto this mid lane now. They need to kind of keep that bit of momentum that they've built up with the two other outer turrets going.
Yeah. Bang really needs to get into the mid lane.
Yep.
And stop being in the side lane. But he's
Yeah.
going to get an opportunity to do it right now. Nope, he's going to recall.
Right now. No.
Well, he pushed the lane up, so knowing that Tristana went back, there was a little bit of time right there. He may want his Sork shoes. Yeah, that's what he's going to pick up.
That's really the power spike that you look for with Corki as well. You know, it's T-Force
very,
and Sork shoes.
Yeah, very nice to be able to have a little bit more punch to your hybrid damage.
Yeah,
But he's
sure.
going to go back into the bottom lane.
Oh.
No, Tristana isn't there.
Oh, wow.
So Bang should walk mid right now. And will he do it?
He's going. He's kind of going in that
direction. He's going to get the
no,
red buff first.
Oh.
He's been distracted.
Double lift, is that you?
Gotta get that red buff first.
Back to farm in the bot
Oh,
lane.
AD
Yep.
carries. Always one more thing. Yeah, I have to get this farm. I have to get this red buff. No, just walk into the mid lane and shoot some rockets.
You know, that bar graph at the end of the game is, you know, if your bar isn't the biggest, it's not going to feel too good. Whether it's champion damage or CS or what have you, you know.
It's okay. He's back in the bottom lane with red buff now.
He's got that. Those minions are just going to get rocked by that red buff. Oh, snap. Oh, bang, I should say.
Well, it's pretty easy for Najin to hold on to this at the moment without that Corki there.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you're going to build a siege comp, and at Corki's power spike, why are you not grouping up? It's a little bit confusing.
This is great for Najin, really. Sure, they're taking a little bit of damage on their tower, but they're buying themselves more time, which is what they need here
Yep.
for this Tristana and this Mundo to really get rolling.
True enough.
SK Telecom really not pressing their advantage particularly well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they feel the need to catch up, but what are they catching up to, you know? Here we go. Yep, there we go. Now he's got the lanes pushed up as he wants. They're going to go after the mid lane turret. Watch a bit low. Bengi goes in, gets exhausted. Watch will escape. FLICKR trying to pick up that kill, and he won't be able to quite do it. I mean, easy. Never mind. Bang's got it covered, man. He's like, all right, your ult didn't work. I'll throw mine in there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Toss him a big one.
Well, and because we did see Watch juke forward right there, based on easy's ult, he managed to not have anything between him and a rocket. And Bang will take the blue buff right now. Great for SK Telecom as they jump to a pretty substantial gold lead.
Yeah. Well, they really kind of waited till last minute, but they took good advantage of that power spike. Let's watch that again. Let's watch get rocked.
Yeah, Watch does some pretty neat dancing right here, but
Dodges two of them. Oh, wow.
you can only dodge so many skill shots, apparently.
That's true.
5, and the last one will finish him off.
That's the thing, man. When you're playing DDR, you get tired towards the end. It's true.
Got to keep going.
That's right. We need like a DDR Jarvan skin where he holds his spear behind him like the bar on the machine, you know, and like does the dancing stuff. I don't know what he'd do with it during the rest of the match. That's not a very well thought out skin idea, I admit.
It's one of your worst ones of all time.
I didn't think that one through, sorry. That was. It's our first match in a while, you know.
Gotta
shaking off the
warm
rust.
up.
Yeah, that's right.
Some new skin ideas.
Still be funny.
Eventually you'll get back to 50 Shades of Graves level.
That's right. I don't know if I want to get back to that level. I scared myself there. Let's produce some fan art that I don't know if I want to see again.
I thought the fan art was quite funny for that.
No, it was great. It's just, you know, it's kind of scary at the same time.
Okay, well,
I'm afraid of my own power. That's really what it's all about, you know. Q lands on Goong. There's a flash. Oh, but the counter flash from Goong. He's going to escape. Tidal wave goes through. Not a lot of follow-up for Najin there. Both teams trying to make plays. Ults and summoners used on both sides. And in the end, the Dragon is alive and SKT in position to maybe make a play for this one.
well, they want to poke before they actually start this Dragon.
They're gonna
They've got
have to.
the big poke advantage right now, so just get those wards up.
With no ult on Nami, though, that does give him a little bit more safety. Ooh, but Bang takes a big hit from that shock blast. Ouch.
They have twice as much poke, though, as the enemy team. So,
Yeah.
wow, they're actually going to start it right now. This will give Goong a couple more shock blasts to make something work here.
That is very brave. Whirlwind comes
This
through,
is
ton of
super
damage.
brave.
There's the ult from Wolf. That's what they were counting on, but oh man, this just does not feel good for SKT. I don't know, can they get it? They do get the Dragon. No, never mind. Yeah, SKT does get it. They're going to go in now. A kill comes in for Maokai. Duke tried to dive into the back lines, didn't end up working. Marin will flash, but the damage from Goong starting to build up. Doesn't stop Corki from picking up another kill. Now Duke is going deep. He wants it, but the 1v5 a bit too strong for even a Dr. Mundo. And so SKT will walk away with the Dragon and 3 kills.
Yeah, right there, it was looking a little bad for SKT, but
It's looking scary.
they managed to pull off the kiting, and then
Oh, Bengi. Oh boy, that was close.
Marin right there coming with the teleport flank, but he's not
Wolf's
going to
teleport.
find.
Just advance onto Goong. Goong knocks him away, but easyhoon right there. easyhoon gets low, manages to live. They had just enough damage. Now OQ on the run, and it looks like he's going to be able to escape. Yeah, Marin throwing that sapling in there just in case OQ was going to rocket jump over the wall.
Good counterplay by Marin.
Yeah.
Gets the recall off, gets the home guard teleport initiate as they know they successfully guess
It's bold.
that Najin was going to try and siege down that mid lane tower. And they barely get that kill off of a couple of flashes coming in from Marin and easyhoon. I thought easyhoon was out of range, but he flashed for it, and his heal managed to actually things around a little bit right there. So
I mean, you could see what SKT's plan was with that Dragon engage. You know, they were counting on Wolf's ultimate to keep them healed enough against the poke of Goong, and it barely worked, but it did work.
yeah, it did, and also they did manage to land enough skill shots on the kite, whereas Goong prepped it really nicely, but you know, they also just didn't have quite enough engage right there. Mundo couldn't actually lock anybody down with CC in the back line. I think he overcommitted to killing Benki as well, when, well, it doesn't really matter if Lee Sin is alive or not toward the end of one of those fights.
Duke.
It's a lot of damage coming in onto Marin, though.
Yeah. And the rest of Najin's coming up. Marin pushes away Duke for the moment, but it looks like Najin really wants to take this one. I don't know, man. Yeah. Oh, Marin's still taking some hits. He can hide behind that turret so easily, though. All they need to do is keep backing up.
Good pressure from Najin, though. They are able to regain some control over the top side of the map.
No minion wave to really do any damage to that turret with, though. Oh, found a pink ward.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, Bang get a recall right now and try and counteract the split push against Corki. And look at this. Grouping with Xerath and Corki. This is what you want to do.
Yep, they're playing out their comp pretty well at this point. And they'll get a lot of damage done to this tier 2. Yeah, about a fourth of the health on that turret done just that little rotation alone.
And they're going to grab a blue buff for their trouble on the way out. SK Telecom not really overcommitting to any of these objectives right now. Happy to continue whittling away their opponents, and it's been working. I mean, 6 kills to 0. Their patience is certainly paying off, and easyhoon's got that actually Janna has the Medjais now.
Of course, man. Only supports can build Medjais and really capitalize on it.
Well, feeling confident.
That's right.
It is Janna playing.
Wasn't his first item, so I mean, not quite as bloodthirsty as he could be, I guess.
Think of how many stacks he would have right now.
I know, yeah.
4.
Exactly. Could have had 4 stacks. A whole 4, man. Gold efficient.
Bengi stealing the Gromp right there with Smite over the wall.
No, dude, that was a Krug.
Oh, a Krug, that's right. Sorry.
Come on, you call yourself a professional, you get your Grumps and Krugs mixed up?
I'm sorry, I hang my head in shame.
The level of professionalism is disgusting.
What kind of noob would mistake a Grump for a Krug?
Yeah, I know. See, look, clearly a Grump right there. I don't know. You say Grump, I say Krug.
There are only so many made-up words a man can keep in his mind, Noah.
That's right, and George Lucas owns the copyright to like 95% of those, so what are we going to do?
It's okay, nobody will ever want to use Dooku again. So.
Yeah, or Jar Jar. That was pretty much killed for the life of the known universe. Yeah. Which is worse in your opinion, Dooku or Jar Jar?
Dooku.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
100%.
I guess so. I'll give you that one. The implementation was worse on Jar Jar, but the name itself was worse for Dooku. That's
Agreed.
true.
Agreed entirely.
Yeah, okay. Glad we got that sorted out.
Jar Jar is more tainted by association. Dooku is just a word that shouldn't be used.
That's true, yeah. Pretty much.
Like Smeb. Smeb is another word that shouldn't be used.
I was going to say, definitely not something you ever name yourself if you're a pro gamer, that's for sure. Yeah. I can't imagine anyone doing that. You know, Mundo just looked kind of sad there. He's like, well, I'm here, but there's no minions anymore. Can't do anything to the turret. All right. Oh, you going for the Gromp.
Definitely not a Krug.
Nope, definitely not a Krug. Going for the Gromp sounds like it could mean any number of things too. I don't know if I could say that on stream again. I don't know.
Fantastic euphemism you've come up with
I
there.
guess so. Thank you. I give all the credit to League of Legends, really. Riot Games themselves for you know helping us do these wonderful things. Thank you. It's great. We'll give it to the Grump.
Oh, here's
We'll
a teleport
take it to the
coming
Grump.
in.
That's right. Looks like SKT wants to make something happen, and they will. Marin coming in with that home guard. OQ getting away. The twist advantage goes in onto Kung. There's a bit of a knock-up, though, and SKT chasing. Bengi comes in. Nice kick onto Kung. They get the kill. Cataclysm comes through. Doesn't really do a whole lot in terms of stopping SKT. The ult comes in. Whoa! Double from EasyHoon. Not too bad at all. And Duke, will he live? Well, that awkward prison certainly seemed to help, but Bang coming over the wall again, and Bengi, he really wants it to, trying to run away. He's got the ult. Can he make it? Gets knocked up. I don't know, man. He's still getting low, and there it is. A kill for Bang at the very last moment. They did the impossible. They killed Dr. Mundo past 25 minutes. It's amazing, and they're going to get a Tier 2 turret out of it as well.
And Marin, his second fantastic teleport flank of this game. And we've seen him do it on other champions like Lissandra as well, just have really good TP home guard engages. Pulls it off one more time right here. Duke a little slow on the TP trigger right there, and that allows them to have mostly a 4v5. Pretty easy to clean that one up, and
beautiful.
Duke just couldn't do much in the back line, even when he was there against the Xerath. Of course, Corki waiting for him. Let's watch this again. And look at this, just gets him right onto Goong immediately.
Yeah.
And there's just not much that Goong can do. He can't get away. Bengi comes in, gets the kick back in, flashes right over the Dragon Pit to keep himself safe. And now, and only now, do we see the teleport coming in from Mundo. And there you go, bam.
And apparently I used my NBA Jam reference way too early in the broadcast.
Wow, 2 shots as well. Pulls out of his ult in order to just defend himself.
Oh, well, that's something you don't see every day.
That's not a
And then
good
they
sign.
decided to call a truce, and everyone went home happy.
That's not a good sign. Looks like we may have some. See if that's an observer issue or.
Yeah, hopefully. I've never seen that happen before.
I have not.
It's actually a new one for me.
Looks like our internet is down.
Is it really? Then I wonder if we're talking to ourselves.
I bet you we are talking to ourselves, though.
Let's just keep having a conversation then, man. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing.
right
I'm
now?
doing well.
That's
Look,
good.
Look at Watch. I like his hair today.
He looks great today, as usual. Watch is like, well, I mean, at least I'm in the intro for every game. Again.
He's been having a solid night himself. Oh, looks like we're back up
Yep.
now.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
good.
just a temporary little hiccup right there.
Cool.
And we've got the game paused, so
Ooh,
everything
good.
should be fine.
You know, that's one of the really great things actually about League of Legends is it's hard to actually damage a game that's going enough that you have to restart. You know,
Yeah,
it's so rare.
Very rare that
Man,
happens.
it's really one of my favorite
Yes.
things about casting League of Legends. I hate restarting games, and it looks like we probably won't have to do that as we see the players re-entering the game right now, and hopefully you guys re-entering the stream as well and hearing us. We're assuming
We're back on your screen.
That's right. Hey, I just noticed our suits are a slightly different color. What do you know?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
We got some variety while still, looking mostly the same.
Our pocket squares are the same color. That's kind of awkward. Yeah, that's a little bit weird.
Don't you hate it when you go to a party and the other guy's pocket square is the same
I know.
as yours? How
When I left the house this
embarrassing.
morning in this suit, when I picked this out of my own closet at my house, and you picked that out of your closet at your house, I totally thought we should coordinate better,
Yeah, we
you know?
really should.
This is our 3rd year of casting champions together. We should really have this down by now.
It happens a lot, too.
It does.
Remember that one season where we picked rainbow suits the
Yeah.
same day,
You know,
every day of the season?
I'm really glad you wore that out the other night, you know, when we went and hit the clubs. That was a great choice, I thought. Yeah, that was awesome. Just could not keep the ladies off you. It was really impressive.
Ladies do love the rainbow suits.
That's right. Of course, who doesn't, you know? You really went for the grump that night. That's good times, you know. We have a good time here in Seoul, South Korea on League of Legends Champions. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I think most everybody's back in the game right now, so we're going to test things, make sure everything is set up. Yeah. What would it be, though, without a little bit of time killing?
Without pauses. I
Yeah.
mean, it really wouldn't be talking about our matching suits.
It'd be
Not much,
shorter, you know?
but significantly less entertaining, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I agree. Good point. Another reason why you're such a fantastic analyst. That's right.
Well, I mean, getting back into this game a little bit, SK Telecom with a pretty commanding lead right now, nearly 9K gold difference, and Dragon Edge as well. Not even a single kill for Najin so far, and it's a bit interesting considering what happened last game. Looks like we're catching up right now.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of spectator delay. We're back in the pause, but we're catching up with the game. We may have missed a little bit of the action.
Well, again, I mean, the important thing is that we're back in the game and we don't have to restart, which is awesome. Like, genuinely well done on that stand for Riot. Yeah.
There's OQ.
You're
How
right.
cute OQ is.
Yeah? Is he the new imp, you think? He's got the big, thick glasses. He's got kind of the big, thick hair. He's kind of like...
He's carrying on in the tradition of Korean AD carries.
Yeah, you're right. The big hair, you know, you need it. Korean 80 carries and country music stars from the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, both a lot in common, really, in terms of attire and hairstyles. Yeah, mostly hairstyles. I think he kind of looks like a combination of Imp and Deft, you know?
He does.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, Imp and Deft, you know, left. They went to China, so now OQ has to come in and kind of beat both of them. Yeah.
His play style more like Imp, though, generally
That's true.
speaking.
That is true. We haven't really heard the trash talk, the imp-level trash talk come out of OQ just yet.
I'm waiting for it. It'll be a good day.
I don't know if that's a good thing, but
We need somebody to take Imp's trash-talking mantle.
we do. What does Imp do now, man? I mean, he's in China. Not a lot of people can understand his trash talk these days. How is he going to be happy about people crying now? It's a sad thing. It might make him cry, in fact.
I'm sure he'll find a way. Good translators, I'm sure,
That's right.
will facilitate the Imp trash-talking.
We won't let them take Chobra. Well, mostly because he only speaks Korean and English, but we wouldn't let him take him anyway, even if he was studying Chinese.
All right.
We'd take his school books away if we found that out.
Well, back in the game now, Doa.
That's right. So, like you said,
we
that's-
survived another pause.
We did.
Good work, team.
And I'm sure we'll survive many more. But not today. It'll be perfect from here on out.
Don't speak too soon. Looks like we're going to be heading for game 3 here, Doa.
I'm confident, man. And that was I'm confident, comma, man, not I'm confident, man. I'm not like a superhero named Confident Man. I'm just a confident man.
Thanks for clearing that up. I was a bit confused there
I
for a
thought it was important. I could tell you were wondering. So SKT with a pretty big lead in this game, like we mentioned during the break. And kind of reverse situations from what we saw in game 1.
What is Bengi building?
Bengi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Usually you would be building into Righteous Glory, but a
But-
couple of them instead. So we'll see what he does with that.
Yep. OQ and Kane want to make a play here. OQ. Yeah, not quite able to do it. They did get the slaw on him.
So it's like Najin trying to close that gold gap a little, get a few towers, scrap them out where they can. OQ is going to start being a threat right now. Oh, Goog doing some dancing.
There's an ult. Oh, look at that damage! Goog knew. He knew that it was coming.
That was great by
wow, that was
it easier, and they really corralled him in there. He had nowhere to go.
That was like a chess move right there. I mean, he knew he was trapped. He knew it was checkmate there. And all you can do is just dance the king for a few moments before it gets knocked over, I guess.
Did some decent damage to Bang, but now, yeah, this pressure coming in. You know, both of these games we've seen one team, first Najin, now SK Telecom, really hit a power spike nicely and be very unforgiving with a small advantage and snowball out beautifully. And that's really, you know, we've seen both one-sided games tonight, but that's a testament to how good both of these teams are. You give them just a little advantage and the snowball just comes so naturally to them. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think it is, you know, it does cement more of what we already knew, that these teams are definitely the top two teams in Korea. Everybody else kind of fighting for third right now. But it is only the very first match of the season. Only going off what we've seen in the preseason, and a lot is definitely going to change.
Yeah, it does seem like Najin's hopes of coming back into this one are fading, though. Both with the massive gold lead, and as well as Marin, he's got the Frozen Heart right now, and that's going to shut down Goong and OQ in a big way. And that, considering they're really the big hopes for Najin to come back at this stage, I don't really think that there's going to be not much that Najin can do.
Yeah. Certainly looking that way. Yeah, still not a single kill for Najin e-mFire. And Duke, he can try to fire Marin all he can, but Marin's got tenure apparently.
The tenured tree.
That's right.
And look at that.
They count it in rings.
They're going for the Warmog's been surprising. That's what Bengi was up to.
Well, SKT.
I get it now.
Mystery is over. They're going for Baron though, and Najin, nothing really they can do to stop this, it looks like. Yeah, Goong not in position to go for it. Ooh, nearly was actually. They managed to kill Bengi.
That was actually really dangerous because Bengi didn't use his smite right there. If Goong had been a little bit closer, he may have been able to take the Baron as well.
Yeah, if that shock blast had been slightly more on point, I wonder. Man, that was scary.
Good time, Duke. Has to pop his ult down. Now with Marin having that MR.
Oh, Kane!
Oh.
Well, you can dodge a ball, but you can't dodge a missile, apparently.
It does make it quite easy for Bang. And here's another teleporting engage.
Seriously, yeah, Marin coming in yet again.
He didn't have home guard.
And no harm guard this time, but they do get the flash from Watch, so that certainly does at least equalize summoners. Yeah, that inhibitor is vulnerable too.
Quite easily. Yeah, Bang, not having to predict much with his rockets. It's like, well, I'm going to put my rocket here, and you either choose to get hit by a Xerath ult, or you choose to get hit by my rocket.
Yeah.
Neither of which are very attractive options.
Well, we have seen SK2 do an extremely good job of just kind of, like you mentioned earlier, corralling, just trapping the players in situations where you just can't avoid the damage. Yep, that poor sapling.
So it's interesting tonight, too, that the more aggressive options have carried the day in both instances. I wonder if we're going to see in the third game both teams going for more aggressive picks, shying away from this Tristana, shying away from this Mundo, and champions that take a lot of ramp time.
Whoa. Kane had a flash there. Marin just going in and activating his ult, going in onto OQ. OQ really low already. Whoa, gets picked off by easyhoon easily. Another kill as well. easyhoon is just crushing with this Xerath. Nearly does a lot of damage to Goong as well. Duke getting grinded down. He'll finally be taken out. And now it's back to the inhibitor for SKT. Wolf just going to heal everybody up. And they may be able to actually just end it here.
Yeah, it looks
Why
like
not?
This game is going to be over in 34 minutes. So
nice
a decisive final push, 15-1 the kills. Two very one-sided games tonight.
Yeah, well, it's going to make for an interesting game number 3, guys. We're not done yet, but this one is over. GG, SKT ties it up.
And in this third game, I really hope we see neither team going after these snowball or these late game champions, because both SK Telecom and Najin have shown that they can punish these late game champions with their early weaknesses very effectively and snowball to convincing wins. So now, Doa, it's time for more Renekton, less Mundo.
All right, not less Nectin, more
Not less Nectin, more Nectin.
All right. Well, easyhoon, fantastic game for him on Xerath, but you can't really compare that against FLICKR. I mean, FLICKR was in a very, very different position with that champion. I know people are going to make those comparisons, be like, oh, wow, EasyHoon did so much better than FLICKR, but yeah, you can't really compare those games.
EasyHoon's a great player, though. And
He is.
Xerath definitely very appropriate for his playstyle, had great accuracy on those skill shots, and that'll come out to a win. EasyHoon,
Yeah.
I think definitely a contender for MVP of that game.
That fan thought EasyHoon was sexy. Yeah, that's exciting, I guess.
It's okay, Watch, you could be sexy too.
Watch is like, hey, I'm still in the intro every game, so again, so I'm feeling good. And I'm feeling good too, Monte Cristo, because this is a best of 3 now. So that means we don't have to end it right here and talk about each team getting a point apiece or something. Now we get to find out who really is going to be the superior team in this match. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, will we see any substitutions as well? Is FLICKR going to come back in for this 3rd game? You guys will
good question.
Just stay tuned and find out.
Well, teams can really tailor their player compositions to their champion compositions now. It's a very cool added depth to champions here in Korea. And we will be back in just a few with game number 3, guys. Do not go anywhere. We're not done yet. Don't miss it. And welcome back, guys, to OGN Champion Spring. And it looks like easyHoon, understandably, getting that MVP for game number 2, 608 on Xerath.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of these highlights of this MVP award because he had some great skill shots and
multiple double kills with his ult.
really worked well with Bang to present people with tough choices as to just which skill shot they were going to get hit by.
Yeah.
Very nice timing and good synergy, so we'll see what happens in the next game if he's going to get played again.
And here we go. I think this was
great kiting right there.
Yep. And I think.
Yeah, just once again coming from the outside. This is the late teleport by Duke as well. There you go. Watch. One. And OQ. Good night.
You know, the thing is right before he activated that ult as well, too, we saw Bang throw a missile down to push everybody towards that side. So again, you know, just like right here, the synergy between Bang and easyHoon was just insane that game.
I'm really surprised. I've never seen this impressive, quirky Xerath skill shot synergy before. Very fun to watch. And oh
man.
OQ gets lit up from range. Watch the next victim of the Xerath ultimate, and Goog nearly found himself as number 3.
You can run, but you can't hide from easyHoon Xerath's ult. It's true.
It's impressive too how he got them just like right in the center of the circle in their time. Those weren't near hits, those were like dead on.
Anyone who plays Xerath or has watched a lot of Xerath played at the pro level should know that that's not an easy ult to hit.
No,
so easyHoon,
very
probably
slow moving.
I gotta say, probably one of the best, if not the best, Xerath game I've ever seen.
Yeah, very solid Xerath game. So exciting stuff. SK Telecom evens up this series, and now, of course, that means we are going to be going into the third and final game tonight to decide who will our first winner be here in the brand new exciting season of Champion Spring here on OGN.
Yeah, and I'm really happy we're going to game 3 in this one. I feel like it's how it should be. You know, these teams made so many waves in the preseason. It's fitting that we're going to game 3 here, the very first match of Champion Spring. Now we're going to find out. Who's your money on, man? After seeing those 2 games, what do you think? You still saying SKT?
I'm still saying SKT, yeah.
I think I am too.
I think that Najin had a very strong first game, but I think that once SKT switched to a little bit more of a lane presence in terms of their champion selections, that they did well, and that ominous music.
Oh boy, it's back. I don't know. Let's find out. I bet it means we're going to take a look at these rosters, see if anything's changed, and from what I can see, no changes. On the Najin e-mFire side, no. Nope, doesn't look
OQ
like
still
it.
there.
Yeah.
Kane, OQ, Goon, Watch, and Duke for your lineup here in game 3. So Najin not switching it up at all, despite the fact that during the preseason they ran pretty much like every possible roster combination.
Well, they gave Zeph and Pure a lot of time. No changes today in this actual match. Looks like this is a roster that they want to stick through. So now the only question remains is, have there been any changes to SKT's side? And let's see. The booth is dark. Oh, but the spotlight right in the middle again, and that's not easyHoon. That's no easyHoon. That's a FLICKR station. He is the Death Star of League of Legends, but I gotta say, man, so far easyHoon's been the one nailing the plants with the super lasers. We'll see what FLICKR can do in game number 3. Don't believe what you see. There we go. FLICKR's in.
And we'll see if this time SK Telecom decides to throw FLICKR a bone in the draft phase. They do have red side this game, so they can, in fact, last pick a champion for him instead of early picking him as Xerath and allowing Goon to run hog wild on Zed all over the map.
I'd like to think they learned their lesson. And knowing SKT's history, I would imagine they have. Here we're looking at...
this is a Goon FLICKR duel from in the preseason.
It was
Look
good.
how long FLICKR holds his Ignite right here. There's the flash, baits Goon into the tower. Oh, man. Great duel.
Yeah. And just in general, FLICKR's Lissandra engages. Look at that. Again, it's just been so incredible during the preseason.
There's a reason why these Lissandra bands have been coming in. FLICKR extremely dangerous. Look at that, holding the tower aggro right at the edge.
You know, and where we have easyHoon, you know, where, or rather Goon with a fairly limited champion pool, FLICKR seems like he's got a new champion every month.
Right. Certainly one of, if not the deepest champion pools in League of Legends.
Yeah, certainly could be. And certainly wanting to redeem himself for that game 1, even, you know, after being put in a rough situation. at the end of the day, he still, feels that loss pretty keenly, and he wants to help SKT come out on top. Goon looking cool and collected, as always, and here comes the coaching staff for SKT. Allowed in the booth.
Time for Coma to point at some people with his pen and frantically gesture at his notebook. I know how that works, Noah.
That classic Coma pen point, yeah. You've been filmed doing that kind of thing before? And Reach and the other coaching staff for Najin back in the booth as well. A lot to think about going into this game number 3, especially composition-wise. We saw teams flip-flop between games. What do you think we're going to see in game 3?
Like I said, I think we're going to see hopefully no Mundo, no Tristana, because those have been losing combinations for the team tonight. Just a little bit too much passivity. I can see them picking either Mundo or Tristana, but too much late game scaling so far. I want to see the Renekton come out finally, Noah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I want to see the Aurelia. That's what I want.
One of the two. Renekton or Aurelia. Those are Monte Cristo's keys to success, right? Let's see. Well, here we go. Picks and bans for the final game of the night. Najin versus SK Telecom. And we'll see what the bans are going to be like. It seems like teams have really been playing around with that Gnar ban tonight. I'd love to see it get through. Oh, and I'd love to see the Azir get through as well, but we're not going to see that happen. Nope.
Nobody wants to see FLICKR's Azir in action. Annie, again, a ban for SK Telecom T1.
I would say that most people want to see FLICKR's Azir in action. I think that the only people who don't are the people playing against FLICKR.
Too true, too true.
If you talk about the whole, human race, I'd say it's a pretty small fraction that doesn't want to see FLICKR's Azir.
Really, Najin should cave to the will of the people.
I think so too, yeah. Majority rules, right? Let FLICKR play Azir. Not going to let him play Lissandra either. Kassadin ban coming in from SKT against Najin.
Where do you go from here? Najin did want to remove the Rumble last time, but they didn't first pick it in game 1. Will they go for the same strategy again? Najin rounded out their pick and ban, of course, with that Gnar.
Yeah.
In the first game, it was Azir, and they're going to do it again. So same bans as in game 1 from Najin. So executing the same blue side plan against FLICKR they had previously.
I feel like that Rumble could be a big point of contention here. What do you think?
Presumably they're going to try and pick the Rumble again, but that does again leave them open to a possible top lane Jace pickup.
Yeah.
Very powerful against Rumble. Renekton also a bit of a threat. There's a Jarvan.
I was wondering, we have seen Jarvan make a pretty big difference today, and throughout the preseason as well, too. And I feel like we were eventually due for one of those Jarvan bans, and making Watch kind of play something different, too, I think is a good idea by SKT. It will let Duke first pick that Rumble, though. Or will force it, rather.
And probably will result in a Lee Sin pickup in the first round of the draft here for SK Telecom.
Yeah.
And they'll take away the Janna as well, getting some peel, some good peel, so that they can't follow up on that Rumble. Important picks. In the first game, SK Telecom actually banned Janna, so they weren't able to take that as a first pick on the red side. We're already seeing some adaptation here. Instead, removing a pocket pick in Annie.
Yep.
And then grabbing that Janna. So this is going to be, it'll force Najin to do something different. No longer can they really do that speed engage comp that they had in game 1 with the Rumble, Sivir, and the Jarvan removed as well. So they're going to have to figure out something else to do with this Rumble.
Yeah, I'm just wondering who Watch is going to be playing this game. I would imagine it's going to be Elise, but we did see him hover over that Nocturne as well, too, and he played so much of it, even though it is a little bit out of meta right now. It wouldn't shock me a lot to see them pick it up. Oh, Kazakhstan, yeah, completely disregarded.
So
Kazakhs.
yeah, looking for some resets off of AoE, which probably keys us into the fact that we'll see what Goon plays. Goon could play Ori here, and they will take the Braum.
Yeah, grabbing that Braum over the Thresh this time even.
Very interesting. So less engaged this time. Najin's still going to be looking for a form of engage, or alternatively just looking for zone control and trying to contest Dragon and turrets without ever actually engaging a team fight themselves.
Right. All right, well, the Maokai would be a pretty strong pickup for SKT after what Marin did with that last game. And so far, we're seeing a fairly similar comp.
Yeah, Maokai. These are two champions that Maokai and Jana were both banned by SK Telecom in Game 1.
Yeah.
So you see the priority this team places on picking them for themselves. Maokai, I think it'll probably be locked in.
Notably as well, they seem to be waiting quite a while for that mid pickup this time. Huh? Oh, who knew?
Yeah, probably a better idea.
Oh, waiting till last? That's a shock. Yeah. They are maybe, yeah, looks like they're going to go with that Tristana unless they switch it last moment. Nope.
I really like the Trist pickup here because there's no way to lock Trist down yet. There's no compelling hard CC that's going to get into the back line with Tristana's range, and they've got great peel. Fantastic peel for Trist as well. So this is a team that's set up for Bang to do very well in Tristana. Ori would be a very strong pick here, would allow SK Telecom to engage on top of the Maokai and provide even more peel for Trist.
Yeah.
But Ori could be taken here by Najin as well.
We'll see. Goong certainly has played his fair share of Orianna. Looks like they might decide to go with that Corki anyway. They do have
Corki Jace would be strong here.
Yeah.
But you have to be worried again about that Maokai.
Well, they could pick up Corki Xerath too, you know. But again, then you're picking Xerath and letting FLICKR pick against it. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Also, Goong not really a notable Xerath player, so I would be surprised if we saw that one.
I think Ari, Jace, yeah, I think those are the two more likely picks.
Whoa!
Okay. Kalista locked in for OQ. No way. Talk about risk-taking. Oh, man. I think that explains the Braum pick a bit, too. That's a pretty solid combo.
Yeah, very good protection. And there's the engage they were looking for. Now, the question of engage has been answered because you can just shoot Braum into the enemy team.
Yeah, seriously. I gotta say,
this is gonna be fun.
I'm a bit shocked that we're seeing Kalista picked up.
I didn't think we'd
so
see her
fast.
Yeah, this early. I didn't think we'd see her this early.
Yeah, especially in a pro match here in Korea. I mean, Korean teams outside of Samsung have been very lenient to pick up new champions compared to NA or EU, that kind of thing. But it gives SKT a lot to think about. That's for sure. That changes everything.
Yeah, there's Koma gesturing frantically at FLICKR, giving him a reassuring pat as he locks in that LeBlanc, certainly one of FLICKR's signature champions.
All right. Well,
so
we'll see how this goes.
They've got more early pressure this game, SK Telecom. Good pick potential early, great assassination. They're not going to be too vulnerable to the Ari. I'm wondering if this LeBlanc pick is a reaction to the Kalista, because the thing about it is that FLICKR will be able to predict Kalista's movements.
She is a bit easier to lock down where she's kind of like committed to that jump after the auto attack. So that's a good point.
So I'm wondering if that's what prompted it.
Yep. I would imagine, but this is going to be an exciting game, man. Champions is back. Never an unsurprising match in this league.
Comes with a very surprising, well, this time, not an unsurprising match, but due to a very surprising pick, the Kalista. But, OQ's the kind of player who's going to be able to do this. Very impressive mechanics on this guy.
Yeah.
And I am quite excited.
Crazy. And FLICKR with that LeBlanc and Ari played by Goong. That's going to be a pretty decent duel. Hoping we get to see a 1v1 in the mid lane. Would not be surprised.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how if they choose to lane against Tristana Jana. You would assume that they would.
Yeah.
But I'm a little unclear about how any Kalista lanes work right now because we just haven't seen her in the professional scene.
Yeah, it's a first. And we'll see what happens, guys. It is time. It all comes down to this. Game 3 between Naj and SKT. Kalista's in. Let's see what happens. It's time to get in the game. All right, here we go, guys. It is time. Match 1, set 3. Naj and e-mFire versus SK Telecom. The fans are pumped. I'm pumped. And there, for the first time ever in Korean League of Legends, is Kalista. Well, there's FLICKR's LeBlanc, but we were looking at Kalista a moment ago.
We're pretty hyped for FLICKR's LeBlanc, though. It's always a pleasure to watch him play that champion.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty hyped all around, I would say.
So, yeah, they got the answer for their engage. They've got, again, Najin. After their convincing Game 1 win, they're opting for a composition with a lot of engage potential with the Rumble, landing Ari Charms, as well as being able to catapult this Braum with Fate's Call right into the enemy team.
Yeah.
And now the lane swap will be coming in, so they actually don't want to play.
FLICKR with a slightly higher win rate on LeBlanc than Goong on Ari. Slightly higher KDA and kills in general.
You can see the KDA mostly coming from Goong with more assists right there, whereas FLICKR
Right.
really finishing off the kills just based on the kills versus KDA ratio. So
Very true.
lane swap again, this time initiated by Najin.
Yep.
And they will get the freeze off. Meanwhile, SK Telecom going to be late. They're not going to get. Oh!
Nope.
Actually, Bang rocket jumped for the freeze. That was actually clever. He skilled, as soon as they realized that there was a lane swap, he actually skilled rocket jump first. That rocket jumped in so they could try and get that freeze.
It's little things like that, too, that are what's really impressive. Having the presence of mind to get that done.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like a split-second decision right there. Very cool. FLICKR coming in already to try to do some damage to Goong. Dodges the second part of that Orbit Deception. There's the exhaust early on. The knockup. Wolf coming in, helping FLICKR get bloodthirsty, and it will be first blood for FLICKR. That's what I like to see.
Wow.
These roaming supports, man, it's a thing of beauty.
You really don't expect a support to be there at that point in the game.
You haven't watched enough of my games, that's why. But I don't do it anywhere near as well as that.
It's a bit risky, though, because you're going through enemy territory right there. And,
Yeah.
of course, we did see that Najin did start at their own red buff. So had the jungler been there in the mid lane, that could have easily turned around on the Wolf. So,
Yeah,
but taking a big risk and making it work out.
certainly paid off.
So now Goong coming back into lane with just a pink ward and some hopes that Wolf won't show up again. Great little play right there from SK Telecom, though.
Wow. Well, that's, I mean, it's not just the gold and the experience and all that, too. It's kind of what it does to the morale of the other team when you get a kill like that.
Yeah, there's not really an advantage that he has now, too. Sure, Goong can try and all-in FLICKR, but FLICKR still has his flash. Goong burned his, so he's vulnerable to repeated ganks.
Well, I think Goong was just confused. He didn't know what was going on. He's like, why is he coming in so deep now? And then he gets hit with the exhaust, and it's, uh-oh. And he knows.
All right, so TP in here for Maokai after he knows that Braum's down on the bottom side of the map, and Wolf already up there with Janna. Wolf actually rather doing some work this game, but it is pushing back out.
Yep.
Okay, trying to get some vision right there. Bang, just farming up next to the turret while he can.
We'll be able to get a little bit. He's got that little CS edge for the moment.
Oh man, I love watching Kalista.
It is pretty fun. Yeah. And doing a decent amount of damage. With this advantage, Marin going deep, doing a lot of damage to OQ early. OQ returning a bit of his own. But Marin can trade. OQ needs to be careful.
Yeah, he already went back as well, has other
Yeah.
Doran's items, so he'll be feeling pretty comfortable right there. FLICKR putting the hurt onto Goong a little bit right there.
He's already got that fiendish codex, man.
Yeah.
His damage is already up. He's got a little bit of CDR. It's getting scary.
Yeah, watch here just to help cover at the moment. Sentinel going out.
Yeah. That's right. Less threatening than the Sentinels in the Matrix, but, you know, similar enough. Oh, Goong in trouble now. There's the knockup. Wolf flash for it. Goong, will he be able to make it out? Doesn't look like it. No, and Bengi has to use the Q to get ahead to finish that one off.
Yeah, just to make sure Goong died right there.
Yep.
They're trying to give it over to FLICKR, but
Well, certainly worth it either way. FLICKR picks up an assist out of that one, and getting a kill on your Lee Sin early is generally not something you complain about.
and Wolf has just been doing such a great job being everywhere at once right now. Now heading deep into the enemy jungle.
Oh boy.
Are they going to set up this dive on Duke? Now, it'll be hard to do. Bang doesn't have any items at the moment, so might be a bit risky.
It would certainly
They
be
may
risky.
try and get some damage. Kane down on the top side, so they know he's there.
Man, Wolf has just been all over the map, too.
Yeah,
now,
he's been playing great.
He used his flash in that last encounter, though. They are going to try to dive this. Will it work out? Duke takes some damage. There we go. Rocket jump in. The exhaust, the knockup as Duke tries to flash away in the ignite. They're waiting for it to finish him off, and Bengi has to go in again and get the kill. He's like, all right, I suppose I'll take the gold. Why not?
Didn't really want those kills. Had to use a pink ward in order to actually secure it, but another kill. I'm surprised they tried that with the low amount of damage that they have at the moment.
Yeah, I
But
suppose.
they made it work.
Well, sometimes the red buff finishes people off, and sometimes you just have to go for the gromp, you know? Just got to do it yourself.
And Kane now back up at the top side. The thing about Kalista is that since her W, the Sentinel.
Oh boy, wow, Faker's not done yet. Trying a 1v1 against Goong and doing a lot of damage again.
It can be hard to deal with LeBlanc as Ahri just because you can dodge out of her Orb of Deception and avoid some of that damage with LeBlanc so easily.
Well, and she has certain ways to kind of follow you through a little bit of your Spirit Rush if you predict correctly and still get that stun on.
Yeah, the chains are there.
Oh, disadvantage coming in,
Wolf is
SKT
back.
going deep. OQ trying to back away, gets into the brush, but he's so low. Kane can't protect him. He's going to back away, and it looks like Brahm's going to make it out, but that's another kill. SKT just crushing Najin in the first few minutes of this game.
Well, it's all been about Wolf this
Yeah.
game. And the team coordination around Wolf as well. You can see everybody ready for his presence. He is doing a great job of communicating with his teammates about where he's going to be and what he's doing. He's got the valuable
Faker
wards in. Faker.
coming in, he uses that Ignite. Goong tries to flash away. Ignite not going to be enough. But Faker, again, gains total control of the mid lane.
He's doubling the CS right now.
Yeah.
Just crushing.
Oh, flashes ahead and gets it. Wow. Faker.
Look at Goog's face right now.
He's like, he should have known that was coming, yeah.
Well, but this has all been enabled by Wolf.
Yeah, totally, and they're going to go for something else here. Watch has to pop his ult to get away. Can't even protect this mid lane turret, and you're right, it is all about Wolf.
Look at the wards that have gone in from Bengi and Wolf. Faker is only able to do this, and he's able to flash forward like this because he knows he's entirely safe to all in.
Yeah.
So it's a very calculated move that leaves almost no room for any kind of play because he knows right where Watch is. So just great job by Wolf. Has not only been making the plays on these roams and coming in at the right angles, he's been providing invaluable vision for his lanes as well, and that's kind of unleashing Faker in this game.
This is my ideal way to see support played, man. I mean, this is true bloodthirsty support. He's not stealing enough of the kills for himself, but I'll give him a pass because he's making such a huge difference. Here we go. Base call coming in. They're going to throw it at Marin. Marin, can he get away? He's going to pop his ultimate. The rest
Faker's
of SKT coming down. This may not have been the best idea for Najin. Faker is going to start off with a kill into OQ. Marin gets a final blow into that one, and now they're going into Kane. They can dive this easily. Exhaust onto Bengi, but he won't die to the turret. And another 2 kills. SKT 7-0 with a 5,000 gold lead at 9 minutes. This could not be more one-sided.
I think Najin's been on tilt right now because that was... Look at the wards right now that are in the jungle. There are tons of pink wards. Najin has no vision. They had just lost their mid tower. Goog was playing back. Faker was free to roam. You don't make that play. That's a desperation play right there where they tried to get the all-in, tried to get OQ something to get back into this game. And I think that they know that this is already going to be a very hard game to win, so you might as well try and force your enemy to react. Unfortunately for them, SKT did react appropriately. And
well, Bang's going to have a static shift so fast compared to anything OQ could hope to build.
It's rough times for Najin in this one. And what are they going to be able to do at this point? Wolf has, I mean, sure he hasn't gotten an assist. He doesn't have that perfect 100% kill contribution, but he's been just playing out of his mind this game.
And Kane, you know, there's not a lot you can do in this situation with a champion like Braum. You know, you don't have any sort of hard disengage that can, you know, push people away or stun people or anything. You know, you've got a shield that blocks incoming damage, but when everyone's right on top of you, Braum doesn't have a lot of value.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, about this, what we saw with Braum and Kalista in the lane swap early is that the Sentinel, you need to have your soul-bound person there in order to deal the percent HP damage to trade effectively. So I'm not sure about Kalista and lane swap scenarios, Doa, because it seems like the top laner is in a lot less threat against just Kalista than other AD carries. And if you move your support, as we see SK Telecom taking the Dragon, into that 2v1 against their top laner, you lack the mobility that Wolf has had this game to make plays elsewhere on the map, and you don't gain a lot from having a support there. That's why we see the 1v1 between AD and top so often in these lane swaps.
I agree completely. I mean, I think that's one of the big sort of double-edged sword parts of having a close on your team is that it kind of does free up their support to roam around and do whatever they want.
Or you sacrifice that for trading ability in the 1v1.
Yes. Right, yeah.
So it's not a great compromise to make, and Marin is
whoa, FLICKR.
chasing Goom all the way back into his own jungle again.
Yeah, well, here we go. Fate's call used on Wolf. Wolf flashes away. There's a whirlwind. Manages to connect with Watch. Kane flashes ahead. They do get the stun onto Wolf. That will be the first kill coming down, but teleport coming in. Marin is on the scene, immediately jumps onto Kha'Zix. Equalizer comes through after Duke teleports down, and it looks like Najin manages to turn this one around for now. Bengi and FLICKR, though, coming in. They want to turn this one around again. FLICKR immediately blowing up OQ, and now they decide they can't die, but at least they make it 2 for 2.
And Goog trying to make a roam, but everybody a little bit protected right now. I mean, honestly, going even in that is...
It's still a win for SKT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
We'll see. And FLICKR here, I don't know if there's any words more terrifying than Fed FLICKR LeBlanc in League of Legends. So
he's going to push Goong right out of lane immediately again. Meanwhile, Bang rather takes that bot turret. Oh, Goong went in. He wanted to try to make something happen, but he's just going to die to FLICKR's Ignite. Oh, Goong.
FLICKR ready for that.
The tilt is real. The tilt is real, guys.
I think the Najin tilt is pretty off the hook right now.
It's not a risk that you would see Goong take very often, but you know, at this point, it is a little bit tilt, obviously, but it's certainly part desperation too. I mean, how do you win if you're not going to make plays like that?
You have to take risks at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
You're far enough behind. If you take no risks, you're pretty much guaranteed to just lose and get snowballed on. So I admire what Najin is doing. They're not just lying there and dying, but instead at least trying to make a play. Bengi here is set up for Duke. Marin.
Oh boy, here we go. Another dive, and Duke, the Q connects. Marin locks him down long enough for Bengi to come in and pick up an easy kill.
Bengi just deciding to build for damage this game too. He's so rich off of all his kills that going for another longsword item.
Well, FLICKR's got a 13-minute Deathfire grasp.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep, that happened. Yeah.
Sork shoes too. No shortage of damage going to be coming out of him. OQ is very sad right now.
Well, FLICKR's DFG versus Goong's Fiendish Codex right now. It's
not looking good, is it?
It's not looking good at all. You may say, well, Doa, Goong has a fairy charm as well, and I'm like, you know, even that, gentle League of Legends fan may not be enough.
That extra mana regen is not going to save him from the wrath of FLICKR.
That's right. True enough. Wow.
And there's not really much that Najin can do either, because this isn't one of those games where you're like, oh, maybe if they just farm it out, they can win. Nope, not with this comp. No. They need Watch to get resets off of the Rumble ult.
I mean, SK
what they can do is create picks. That's what they can do right now. We'll see if they're able to pull it off, but very unlikely.
Well, it's a situation either way, you know, whether it's creating picks or, you know, anything else that relies SK Telecom to make a series of very, very bad mistakes. You know, it's not just one team fight that's going to change it at this point. They need to continuously make big mistakes for Najin to come back in. I don't think SKT is going to do that. Duke immediately flashes. Does not want to get hit by the Dragon's Rage. Too late. You've been kicked. Bengi in a little bit of trouble, though. Duke manages to get that kill. A little bit over-eager, but Marin comes down to even things up. No, he can't. FLICKR thinks about going in, but that'd be a little bit too risky, so.
Wow, Duke with the 1v2 outplay right there.
Yeah.
Especially with him being as far behind as he is.
Oh, barely didn't reach him, and FLICKR gets exhausted. There's the ultimate from Braum as well. Will they be able to pick him off? Wolf healing. FLICKR trying to get away. He dodges, but they're going to just take out the clone and him. No problem there. Looks like they might be able to grab a mid lane turret out of this.
Doing a lot with this, actually.
I know.
They were able to grab the shutdown goal as well. Very important for Goong at this stage.
A little bit of cockiness from SK Telecom in the top lane and a little bit of smart play by Najin in the mid lane.
Well,
and
it's one of those things,
they make it happen.
Najin, you can see the quality of their teamwork right there, because as soon as they realize that Duke has won a 1v2 in the bottom lane, they know they're totally free to just engage in the mid lane. No chance chance of Bengi being there. And with Marin kind of out of the picture as well after that little fight, they have a guaranteed man advantage as long as they're all there. And they really did a great job of playing to that, getting the engage onto FLICKR, lock him down, and even picking the right LeBlanc right there. FLICKR tried to be tricky because he sent his LeBlanc off into the river, back into the river, and the clone into the turret, but they still guessed the right one.
Yeah. When it's all said and done, though, Najin gonna need a lot more than that.
Yes, they will.
It's a good start, though. It's something.
But the instincts are right there,
Yeah.
and they, off of a little mistake by SK Telecom where Duke barely survives in a 1v2 and gets a kill, they're actually able to turn it into an objective as well, and another kill. So that's nice.
That is definitely nice. Dragging up in 1 second, that could be nice for SK Telecom. The Sentinel just doing a little bit of scouting, but FLICKR will take that out before it finishes. He knows that OQ may be nearby, though.
So OQ has the Infinity Edge compared to just the Shiv of Bang. So maybe he's trying scared.
Yeah.
So scared right now.
Well, yeah, man, that's like a weird floaty head thing. That is kind of scary. It doesn't stop SKT from taking their second dragon of the game, though.
Yeah, and not much to say at this point. Najin's going to try and wait for another one of those little windows where they may be able to get something done and chip away at SK Telecom, but very large lead for SK Telecom, and especially because they have very strong late game carries like Tristana.
Right.
Quite difficult for them to lose this game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not enough for Najin to catch up. They need to catch up and then, exceed SKT by a pretty wide margin if they want to have a real lead. Oh, FLICKR coming in onto OQ.
Oh, he missed the chain.
He did, yeah. That would have possibly, would have been close. With the Ignite, it probably would have been a kill. And OQ. Oh, they got the knock-up onto FLICKR. FLICKR could be in a bit of trouble here. Bramald, FLICKR has to flash.
A good reaction there from Najin. Very nice. Even though they had to use 2 ults to get the flash, as long as they can hold it out until those ults come back out, will definitely be worthwhile.
Well, they've certainly shown they've had a decent amount of practice with this.
I love watching
OQ Kane combo. Yeah,
Kalista Braum combo. It's so fun.
it is pretty fun. I enjoy it. Although I don't like the idea of letting an AD carry decide where I am. That scares me, Monte Cristo. It scares me on the deepest level.
Well, you decide where you are. You're the one who actually activates it. They
true.
just call them into you.
But
so
see,
the AD carry can decide where you're not.
I'm
really.
talking about when they're walking around, with you. That's what I'm worried about. Who knows where an AD carry is going to go?
It's true.
That's right. That's what I'm worried about.
Ooh, another forced flash there. Catching Marin in the jungle. They had a nice pink ward that Bang walked right by earlier without checking the brush. So Najin defensive wards looking pretty solid. And Baron will be coming up, of course, the 20-minute mark, but no immediate dragon threat, considering that was taken by SK Telecom a few minutes ago. So they can hold on for a little bit longer, even though they will lose some of their bottom side jungle. And that presence is going to cause OQ to have to hug his turret.
Yeah, certainly does need to be careful here. Top manages to take out the Krug. He clamored for the Krug.
He did.
But yeah, Bang with still a lot of pressure in that bot lane. And SK Telecom, they've got this comfortable lead now. They know what they're going to be like in the late game. They don't need to be any more aggressive than they have been so far. There's really not a lot of pressure on SKT right this second.
No, there's not, but they also aren't quite ramped into the maximum amount of damage because of that static shift first onto Bang. So once they farm out that Infinity Edge on Tristana, though, they'll be feeling more comfortable about perhaps diving. And Marin, he has the Rod of Ages, but he's still working on some other items. And so SK Telecom, there's no timer on this for them, really. They're not too worried about abusing a power spike at the moment. They're happy just waiting around, getting Maokai ultra tanky, and then Tristana high up on items, and then they'll be even stronger compared to Najin's composition in the late game.
Whoa, FLICKR comes in. A lot of Najin players waiting for that, but look at the damage he does to Goong. Man, and FLICKR, I mean, just before that, did such an excellent job of dodging a lot of those skill shots as well from Goong.
Yeah, Just keeping that pressure on, forcing Najin to defend. They don't have the best wave clear with this composition.
Well, every time you force a player back like that too, you give yourself that little bit of map advantage where you can have that little 5v4 for just that few seconds that it takes them to recall and come back. Get a bit more map pressure on.
Yeah, and they are slowly chipping away at these towers because of the low wave clear. I mean, they really have not a whole lot, especially since Kalista did go for the Infinity Edge before Shiv. They're able to push very aggressively, get a few hits here and there. See Bang walking up with the Janna shield. And will they be able to make a play? There's a teleport coming in.
Yeah, we'll
Duke
see what they can do with it.
guard.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch him. Kane is there. Rocket jump. Nice buster shot, pushing Kane away. Eliminating any chance of him getting the ult off onto Bang.
Yeah, that teleport was way too early right there, especially without home guard. I thought based on the location, he would have been going for the home guard, but that's a big, big cooldown that's not going to be available for the Dragon fight either, so they're probably going to have to just give it up to SK Telecom.
Seems that way. SKT still with a gold lead of about 8,000 right now. So I believe that's actually a bit of an increase over the last few minutes.
And especially because these towers are teetering right now.
Yep. Oh, more damage from Faker. Wow, just one combo and Goong loses half his health. Faker not even bothering to use the DFG there.
And just using his autos to take it down bit by bit.
Yep.
Now, we'll see what kind of play they make for the next Dragon. Obviously, with such control of the minion waves right now, it should be pretty easy for them to get the wards they need. And you can already see Bengi and Wolf there on the outside, making sure that Najin can't get any wards closer to the pit.
Wow.
Wolf has just been exceptional this game.
Yes, he has. Well, we saw, in my opinion, the best Xerath game that I've ever seen last game from EasyHoon, and now we're seeing possibly one of the best. I'm not going to call it the best because we've got a ways yet, but one of the best, maybe, Janna games.
Yeah, definitely. Oh.
Whoa, meanwhile, Faker finally achieves his objective.
You just have to be patient.
Yep, can't blame our observer for that one. It happens very fast. Whoa, he even gets the ult out. Can they catch him, though? The exhaust goes down, and they're coming in. Faker has to flash away, sends his clone back in to distract Najin, and Faker manages to escape.
A little help from Bengi right there, providing an additional distraction that maybe there's something going on. In the meantime, Bang just going to chip away, finally finish off that tower. And
we talked about making picks being so important to Najin, but the trouble is that when they're spending time trying to make those, you've got OQ killing your objectives now.
Well, this is it though. SK Telecom's playing the map beautifully. Once they get that kill, they take advantage at the weak point of the armor, finally get that tower down, and they have much more room to make decisions with all these lanes pushed up, get a dragon right afterwards. SKT, again, all the games tonight have just been, from both sides, a great demonstration of ability to snowball.
Yep. Yeah, it's scary when you see teams do this to each other, when it's the two best teams in the region. Presumably you kind of got to worry if you're any other team in Korea right now about how your games against either Najin or SKT are going to go.
Yeah, probably not too well.
Yeah, I would imagine. I think maybe KT would probably be the closest at this point.
Yeah,
to going toe to toe with one of these teams.
KT or GE.
Yeah,
Tigers.
I can see that.
We'll see how they do, but yeah, definitely these teams looking probably by a pretty large margin, the top two teams in Korea at the moment. But now that we're done with a little bit of roster swapping, we'll see what the actual season itself holds. I think that once KT kind of identified Score as the top jungler, that things change a little bit.
Whoa, Faker comes in again, wants to get another kill, and Goong has to back off with Kane there, though. It's cool that this is our first match because it's the best two teams right now, presumably, but I'm really excited about seeing all these other teams play because we really don't know where anyone else stands.
And Samsung is such a fun team to watch right now.
Absolutely. Oh, here we go. Bang over the wall. A lot of damage on to Watch. Meanwhile, Goong manages to kill Faker. You're going to have to get a replay of that later. Watch manages to escape, too. So, Faker. Wow, Goong barely living through that one, but he won the duel. I want to see that. I've got a feeling Kane was involved, too.
We've been treated to so many great Goong Faker duels in the last couple of months. I mean, we saw some of the clips of Faker earlier, the Lysandra Zed duel that Goong and Faker had that was so close. Oh, Q.
Oh, he missed the spear. It's true. There's Equalizer coming down. Doesn't really make a big difference. I mean, after After FLICKR basically killed Ryu forever at Champion Summer Finals 2013, somebody needed to step up and be the rival, and I think Goong's a good rival for FLICKR. You know, we had Rookie for a little while there, 2Pawn and Dade for a little while, but I think it's Goong now.
Goong has become the de facto FLICKR rival.
I think so. Somebody had to do it. Bang shoots the scary face.
I wonder where Callista gets all these decapitated heads from.
I know. Where is she keeping these?
She carries a sack of heads with her at all times.
A bag of heads. Sure, why doesn't that take up an item slot, huh?
All right, now we will solve the mystery. So chains got chains miss.
Yeah.
There's the sigil. So
Okay.
FLICKR backs off. Goong still got everything though.
Well, he came in again.
There's
That was a
DFG,
mistake.
and FLICKR is just gonna get charmed right into the turret die. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that was less exciting than we might have thought.
It was exciting that Goong didn't die. That was exciting. FLICKR going a little bit too ham there.
Yeah, a bit predictable. Not too hard to hit that charm for Goong.
Still, when you look at the KDAs between Goong and FLICKR right now, things still definitely going FLICKR's way. Overall.
Indubitably.
Absolutely. Wow, they're going in on the Kane. Kane responds with the ultimate. All of Naja is there. Great equalizer. They manage to take down Bengi right away. Watch has to go away. Wolf manages to ult. Can he get away with the disengage? He'll flash for it. Marn coming from behind. And now Najin in a bit of trouble. FLICKR deals some damage. And look at it all coming in from Bang now. Bang is going to clean up this fight easily. Maokai grabs a kill. It won't be the Penta, man. Marin Troll stole it from him. He gets the Quadra, though. Quadra kill for Bang on this Tristana. And if Marin hadn't got the last hit on one of those, that would have easily been our first Penta of the season.
Oh, and Bang's had a lot of pentas before. Now, this is the thing about Bang, and this is the thing about SK Telecom. Is, yeah, that was a great quadra kill from Bang, but really, you can see that Najin just, teams will invest everything into trying to kill FLICKR, and all Bang has to do, Tristana's a great champion, not because he's necessarily the world's best Tristana player that you've ever seen, but just because the resets after everybody gets chunked out by FLICKR and everybody commits so much to FLICKR make it so easy for Bang to clean up team fights. If you look at this investment onto FLICKR and Bengi right here, sure they kill him, but look at this. Everybody just gets kited. Now Bang, this is probably the easiest quadra kill that we'll see this season.
I would say
Either
so.
two. Walks up, shift proc. Okay, there's another auto attack. One jump, everybody's super low. Okay, kill watch, got it. Another jump. I mean, mechanically, it's not that impressive.
Yeah.
But this is what's scary about SK Telecom, is that FLICKR makes things this easy for Bang.
You know,
Bang is a good player, but you don't have to be a good player to clean up that fight.
Well, the scary thing is now, you know, you've got Marin being aggressive and coming in from behind with the teleport, things like that. I mean, I feel like Marin especially has added this huge new dimension. They do catch Bengi, though. Bengi trying to get away. FLICKR is going to prevent that from happening, though. Wow, double kill for FLICKR. Now Bang, he's going to be looking for some resets. Duke getting a bit low, and with that slow, maybe he'll get away. Wolf coming in.
FLICKR.
Can he make something happen? Oh, really nice use
Quadra.
of the Spelthy Sedge. Yeah, it's a quadra kill for FLICKR. And the Frost Queen's claim does work for
He's
Wolf.
gonna slash laugh at him under the Nexus turret. OQ denying FLICKR the LeBlanc Penta.
It's okay. I gotta say, that was one of the better Frost Queen's claim uses by Wolf there too. Just yet another great play by him.
Oh, he
got it! How in the world did he get that pentakill? Wow, that was really on the edge as far as time goes, but FLICKR's like, no, you know what? I want it, and FLICKR gets the first pentakill of Champion Spring, and the Nexus goes down. SKT takes it. GG. Wow, what an end to evening number one here.
Great series tonight. And
seriously.
While none of the games were particularly close, and by that I mean all of them were extremely one-sided.
Yeah.
It really was a great clinic by both teams on how to close games, given a small lead and start a snowball, especially with some of these mid-game compositions that were played in games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So definitely both teams showing how much they have to offer. And Wolf had a great game there. I think he should get MVP, but he'll probably go to FLICKR just because of pentakill.
People love pentakills. It's true.
Wolf set that one up really, really well, and I think is very deserving. He really started that snowball, and FLICKR made the most of it for sure, but Wolf with the early roam, and
It's that fan's birthday today. That's well, happy birthday to them. It is a pretty happy birthday if you're an SKT fan.
if you're a League of Legends fan, it's the first day of Champions.
It's
though.
true, yeah. It feels like your birthday even if it's not your birthday.
Did you know this is our 8th season casting here in Korea together?
Wow.
No, I lied. 7.
Wow. That's why I just said
I
wow.
can't-
I'm like,
I can't
I
even
was
count.
wow. I can't believe you got that wrong, Monte Cristo. After 7 seasons of League of Legends with me,
That's it. 7th season now.
disgusting.
I'm terrible at
It's the last
counting.
one. Oh, what a great night, though. Honestly, like I'm so glad Champions is back. What a great series to see. And despite the one-sided games, despite SKT, finally coming out on top in Game 3, both these teams played so well tonight.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see some more Najin as well. And SK Telecom, after coming up a bit short in Game 1, returning with the comeback.
Whoa, and look at this.
Nice.
Wolf gets the MVP. 0-2-14. Some of the best roaming, best ganking that I have ever seen a Janna do.
Great map play from Wolf. That
Incredible
was
stuff.
Really, really nicely done in the early game. He was in all the right places.
If you get an MVP over a pentakilling faker, that is probably the hardest earned MVP we've ever
I'm
seen.
really happy he got that. I think
Yeah,
he
me
was
too.
well deserving.
Absolutely.
So of course, stay tuned, guys. We are going to have an interview
That's right.
as usual.
Yep.
And let's check out
Interviews.
some Wolf helping people get kills. And also Bengi will take this kill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool. And more doodads.
Look at that great tornado too, right on the flash as well.
Yep. Yeah, cool. Once again, yeah, cool.
So here's Wolf coming up into the top side. Bang is going to jump in there. Very little amounts of danger. And
Again, not a lot Kane can do to save OQ there.
he's going to save Faker right here with a shield. And Goog will fall to the minion damage and the ignite, giving Faker a little bit of a blue buff.
A lot of bit of a blue buff. There we go. Just another whirlwind, man.
Really nice tornadoes.
Yeah. Really incredible game from Wolf. And
Nope,
again, I
you
mean,
have to hide your face to the other side. There you go.
that's right. Yep. It's hard sometimes. You never know quite. You have to reverse left and right. It's a tough one. Yeah. I can't blame her. I do the same thing. That's right. Wow.
Thorn approves.
That's right. And he doesn't approve of much. That's pretty impressive.
All right, so our MVPs from the winning team. I guess Duke is left out in the cold.
That's right.
And of
Poor
course-
Duke.
So we're trying to solve some mic issues with our interview right now. So hopefully we can get that working.
That's right.
Sure.
Shobra looking great as usual. We have, yeah.
So I'll see if we can get some of these audio issues ironed out at the moment.
We'll see. Either way, just feast your eyes upon these wonderful League of Legends players.
So actually, let's have our translator come up here so he can translate the interview for you. Welcome, Barry.
Hello. Nice to be here, unexpectedly. So, how do you feel about your victory? It was unfortunate that we lost in Game 1, but we managed to win in Game 2 and Game 3.
네, 역시 SK텔레콤 T1 잡습니다. 1경기에서 제라스가 나왔었어요. 근데 2경기 들어가셔서 똑같이 제라스를 픽하셨는데
Xerath was picked in Game 1, and Xerath was also picked in Game 2. What changed? So we had Xerath as a priority pick that we considered.
네, 그러셨군요. 근데 예술적인 궁 명중률, 정말 국사포를 쏘는 독점 킬이 발생했는데 어떻게 하면 그렇게 잘할 수 있는 건지 비결 좀
How is it that you're so good at Xerath? You showed a lot of sniping ability in Game 2. So it was very simple for me to just finish off people because my teammates were able to bring everyone down very low. So that's really all there was to it.
근데 오늘은
It's so easy. How come I can't do that?
CS라는 승부랑 관련이 없는 건가요?
So you're known for CSing very well. So what's your belief in CS and
그래도
victory? And
CS를
says,
잘 먹으면 처음에 라인전에서 좋으면 항상 이지훈 선수 플레이가 그랬었거든요. 처음에 CS를 잘 먹고 그리고 나서 계속 네, 멋진 모습을 보여주는 플레이였는데 오늘은 관련이 없었다.
so and he said earlier that there was really nothing, no relationship between his CSing and winning.
라인전을 이기기 CS를 더 많이 챙기기 힘들 것 같아요.
네, 그렇습니다.
Yeah, I just focus on CS
낮은
safely as possible, and I don't think it's really a huge factor in end
이번
victory
스프링
in
시즌에서
game
이
2.
팀은 라이벌 팀이다. 그런 팀 있을까요?
So who would you pick as a rival
네,
team
스프링
this season?
시즌 시작했는데요. 지금 참가한 8팀 모두 다 잘하는 팀이라고 생각해가지고
So the spring season just started, and I think all 8 teams are very good, and all of them are people to watch out for.
No, Easy Hoon. This is where you trash talk.
He doesn't like trash talk.
준비해가지고 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
So and he concluding marketing says we'll prepare even more and keep showing good form throughout the season.
네, 이번에는
And now we're moving on to Bang.
MVP 선수 만나보도록 하겠습니다.
The MVP
제가
of,
아까 죄송하고요.
Oh no, sorry, Wolf,
여러분,
MVP
박수
of
맞으세요.
Game 3.
네, 안녕하세요. 뱅 선수가 될 뻔한 울프입니다.
I mean, I followed that. You just said, "Hey, I'm the wolf who almost became Bane."
잔나의 롬이 정말 멋졌습니다.
So your roaming on Janna was really amazing. So how were you able to do that so well?
그냥 보면서 하면 되는 것 같아요. 보면서.
Well, if you want to play just like me, you just watch me and play, and that's really it.
I watch Wolf a lot. I still can't play like him. What's wrong with me?
근데 그냥 진짜 아 여기 가면 죽겠구나 뭐 이런 것도 있고 아니면
Well, he says that, well, if I just go here, I think we'll probably die. So I just went mid. So that's all there was to it. He gave very simple answers.
사실 칼리스타가 지금
Nothing big to it.
팬분들도 와 하는 소리가 들릴 정도로 정말 놀랐어요.
So Callisto's picked, and there was like a lot of like fan cheering and whatnot.
크리스타가 제가
What do you think
랭크에서
about
많이
it?
해봤는데
I played Callisto a lot in
제가
ranked
못해서
matches.
그런지
Well,
별로 좋지만은 않더라고요. 그래서
I don't think Callisto's that great, but that might be just because I suck at her.
좋은 모습 보여주셨습니다. 뱅 커드라가 나왔고 페이커의 펜타킬까지
So
나왔습니다.
Bang had a quadra kill and Faker had a pentakill. What was the atmosphere inside the booth?
분위기는 초반부터 계속 좋게 흘러갔어요. 초반부터 계속 좋게
Well,
흘러갔는데
the atmosphere was always good from the beginning,
쿼드라 킬을
but once
먹을
Bang
때
made a quadra
아직
kill,
1킬도 나오지 않았는데 자기한테 펜타를 달라고
and he says, "Give me the penta, give me the penta."
결국 펜타 할 수 있었긴
Well,
한데
and he
좀
says,
아쉽게
"We ended up giving a penta, but
처음부터 계속 분위기는 좋게 흘러갔던 것 같아요.
it wasn't to him." But yeah, the atmosphere was good throughout the whole series.
게임 얘기는 잠깐 내려놓고요. 2015년이 됐습니다. 울프
So it's now
선수
2015,
이제 더 이상
moving away from the
미성년자가
game.
아니거든요. 이제 성인이 되셨는데
You're now legally an adult. How do you feel about that?
근데 성인이 되어서 약간 좋은 게 별로 없는 것 같아요.
So I don't think there's anything good about being an adult, but I can now make microtransaction purchases on games apps on my phone. So I think that's the big plus of being an adult now.
오늘 현장에 많은 팬분들이 또 열띤 응원으로 응원해주셨는데 한 말씀 해주세요.
So do you have a word to the fans who gave great cheering? These were really loud and boisterous the whole time.
많은 응원 부탁드릴게요.
And he says thanks just as ever, and I'll hope you guys keep cheering for us in the future.
네, 많은 것이
All right. Well, thanks, Barry, for your excellent translations.
Wonderful job, Barry. That's right. That last fan that sign, not the sign, you know what I mean. Fan was holding up a sign. That's where my story begins. And the sign said,
Where does it end?
said Wolf God carry. That's what it said.
Good old
And
Wolf God.
carry he did in game number 3, and again, wow, what an opening match for Champion Spring. That kind of, I feel like that match is a good place to start.
It really set a very nice tone, didn't it?
It did, yeah. So there we go. Win in game 1 for Najee e-mFire, and then SK Telecom adapt and destroy. Robot Protocols working as designed tonight, I guess. Yeah, with the 2-0 after that, so a 2-1 victory in the end. Monte Cristo is victorious in the predictions.
The prediction of the match tonight, well,
Yep.
I'm sure I will falter many more times throughout the season. Got lucky tonight.
Oh, sure. You're too modest. We all saw you on the analyst desk. We've seen those predictions in actions before. I voted with my heart. That's right. With my head.
Your heart said 2-0.
Yep. But the match said no.
All right, well, here are our matches for Friday this week.
Yeah, that's right. So 2 best-of-3s on Friday and Saturday. GE Tigers versus Incredible Miracle, and then Samsung versus Jin Air Green Wings. All of these matches are going to be awesome because we really don't know who's going to come out on top so much. I mean, there's still so many questions about all of these squads. GE Tigers, I would say, out of those 4 teams, probably the strongest right now, but Samsung's got a lot of potential. Jin Air should be playing better. It's a lot of questions. And then on Saturday, wow, look at that. Najin versus KT Rolster, and then SK Telecom versus CJ. CJ was hurting really badly in the preseason. We'll see if they've kind of gotten things together a little bit more because they're going to need to be on top of their game against SKT.
Yeah, they're going to need to perform much better to beat the SK Telecom team we saw tonight.
And important to note, too, these matches on Friday and Saturday start an hour earlier than we do on Wednesday now.
That's right, at 5 p.m. KST. So
That's right.
New season, more matches, new time. Now we have potentially 6 matches in a row, so you can hang out with me and Noah for maybe 6 hours every Friday and Saturday.
Could be quite long, but it could be quite fun, too.
And remember, ogn.azubu.tv, of course.
That's right.
To vote on the big plays, the super play for Azubu, and of course, the player that you select will win about $400 at the end of the season. The best play of the season, the player's going to win about 10 grand. So go ahead and go vote on that. Important to put some some cash into some deserving players' pockets.
I would say so. That's right. Just inspire them to play bigger and better, make more plays. See, it all works well. It's symbiotic. Guys, thanks for watching so much tonight. This has been night number 1 for Champion Spring. We'll see you on Friday. Do and Monty Chrysler from South Korea signing off. See you then.